Code.
Would you want to beat him?
Let's
hard to
say
work with. Oh,
no, but I'm gonna explain.
okay.
It's hard to work with code if you are not as hungry as him for the game.
Okay, that's a good framing.
If I used to tell that in Portuguese, but when code was the best in the planet.
Add some fun to your space with Xtrfy, designed in Sweden with focus on quality products built on experience. You're looking at Project 4, their 4th generation of products with super cool colorways to stand out, with matching sets to satisfy with a solid B4 bungee, lightweight ergonomic M4 mouse, the K4 keyboard is fantastic, all of which are performance focused, and finish it off with colorful GP4 mouse mats that are bold in design and smooth on the surface. The retro theme in particular has got the feels. Complete your setup with Xtrfy. No regrets, guaranteed.
Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna see you falling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parry Match, your esports teammate. Hey buddy, let me show you how to fix that. Bitskins.com. Buy and sell skins instantly. Deposit and withdraw funds instantly with crypto or directly to your Visa card. Bitskins.com, the best skin marketplace.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Counter-Strike fans across the globe, welcome to another installment of HLTV Confirmed. A couple of hiccups here before we kick this one off, but it's Wednesday the 13th of October. It's episode 58, season 5, and quick shout out to the sponsors, Xtrfy.com. Check them out if you're in the marketplace for some peripherals. We got ParryMatch.com, gamble responsibly. Bitskins, buy and sell CSGO skins and items. And remember, you can get the audio-only options of the podcast over at anchor.fm/HLTV. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. All right, on tonight's show, recent news, Glavin, Bubzkji out for the major. Regional major ranking events come to a close. Blast Showdown is live. And of course, we got the hot seat with Taco. Taco, hello. How are you doing? Where in the world are you joining us from right now?
Hello, guys. Thank you for the invite. My bodyguard is actually saying hi for you guys too. I'm actually in Mexico, in Monterrey.
Now, I want to know, this is the question I have here. I'm going to give you a proper intro once we get to the hot seat. But how is your dog's with you in Mexico? You travel around the world with your dog?
Actually, that's the first time he travels. That's the first time.
Okay, all right. Are you going to take him with you to Europe?
No.
Oh,
I won't.
All right. All right. Well, we've got to introduce the other boys here, and then we'll get the hot seat underway. All right. So, Lucas, there's a couple of hiccups here. Are we expecting smooth sailing now, or is it fucked?
I don't know. I'm having a really bad day today with my luck.
All right. I'm stressed out because Lucas is stressed out. Let's just hope there's no fires. Striker?
I'm not stressed.
I'm stressed.
No. Take a deep breath. Everything will be okay, Chad.
All right.
This is so
Let
ironic.
me stress.
Lucas trying to de-stress the rest of the people. And it literally what he does every episode before he starts. Just like,
up.
everything. He's like, what is this? Nothing's working. I'm clicking this. My mouse isn't working. Oh, it's not connected. Well, this isn't even my mouse. This is these are headphones. These are like headphones. Like, what the fuck is going on here? That is Lucas before every show.
All right. Lucas, just stay calm, okay? Stay calm. Keep the rest of us calm. Now, look, we have some really pressing topics here before we kick off the show officially. Striker,
Yep.
You're the most hated man on Reddit today. You're also continuing HLTV Confirms vendetta against NIP. How are you holding up?
That's kind of crazy, actually. I honestly thought it would bother me more that like a bunch of people on Reddit disagree with me and think I'm an idiot and whatever, and just making a big deal out of it out of nothing. I'm actually taking it super well. I'm actually surprised by how well I'm taking it, because I thought I'd just be tilted at people being stupid. I usually am. I don't know why this isn't any different.
Not bothering you. All right. Well,
Not
look,
really.
we'll check back in about that in the future. We'll see if it gets to you. Now, Prof, you're our resident Bubzkji pronouncer. I wanted to know how the day's been for you. How's your heart? Is it heavy today?
Rough times. I did tweet one picture. I got 4,000 likes now. I did not expect this. So the pro Bubzkji, I don't know how to call it. Just the movement, the pro Bubzkji movement, the free Bubzkji movement is back, like peak levels after today's announcement. And I can't say anything more, but behind the scenes, we're working on a solution for this.
A telethon for Bubzkji.
It's probably gonna have a Kickstarter involved, so we can free Bubzkji and then send him to like a great team where he can flourish. Something like Gorillas, maybe. I don't know.
All right, wonderful. All right, now let's get into the hot seat. Lucas, roll the bumper, and let's get this one underway. Guys, I can't tell you tonight. I'm so sorry. I can't tell you tonight. The producer communication I've had is at an all-time high, and I'm hating this. But I need everybody to take a deep breath, please. Please take a deep breath, because I want to do this intro. I want to get this intro.
Best countdown I've ever heard.
God, I want to get this intro set and ready to go. All right, we got the hot seat tonight with none other than two-time major winner, Brazilian Counter-Strike legend, and now the in-game leader of GODSENT, Taco. There we go. That's the intro I wanted to give you, mate. Thank you again for joining us. It's great to have you here. You're in Mexico. You got your bodyguard. You just qualified for the bloody major. You're ramping back up this mountain. How? It's a generic question, but how's life? You must be pretty happy with things right now.
Yeah, thank you for the intro. I appreciate it. Yes, it's been long 10 months under GODSENT. Of course, I'm enjoying the victories and the rewards we are getting for the hard work of the entire year. So it feels great to finally be able to win matches and get spots on tournaments and all this stuff. It's been a long time since I won something, and even an online qualifier feels really good, to be honest.
Yeah, we're going in a bit of reverse order here tonight with you, mate. We're going to start with the recent highs, and then we're going to go back and kind of look at how you've gotten to this point and the rebuilding of you within the Brazilian Counter-Strike scene. So for people who aren't too familiar, in recent times, right, you've been able to qualify for IM Winter. You've got the EPL conference, and you've obviously qualified for the major. This has all happened relatively recently. You've had to go back on a plane over to America, whether it's south or north, but either way, to play in some of these events. And I think one of the key things is the majority of the time for this team has been spent in Europe, right? Like you guys have been spending a lot of time in that facility in Sweden that GODSENT have. Is it Malmo? Where is it exactly?
It's in Malmo, yes.
Okay, so spending so much time over there and playing so much Counter-Strike over there with the new team that you've formed, and then you're going over to North America, does it feel like you guys have done it in like the Dragon Ball Z kind of hyperbolic chamber thing, and now you've gone over and you feel like you're back in the real world against everybody?
Yeah, kinda. When we started the team, we wanted to go to Europe because we thought that it would be the fastest way to improve and to get better. And that's what we did. It helps that GODSENT has a GODSENT facility in Sweden, and I mean it makes our lives a lot easier when we travel to Europe. We never planned to stay in Europe because when I was invited to this project, the only conditions that I put for me to join the team was not moving to Europe or that's pretty much it. I just said that I said that I don't want to move to Europe, and I don't want to move to another gaming house because I'm getting old, and I spent all my life and all my career in a gaming house. It's been like that for 6 or 7 years now, and So those were the only conditions that I put to go to GODSENT. And when we went to Europe, we actually improved a lot. We got to practice a lot against a lot of teams, which is nice, and especially for the young guys. It was the first time that they had some kind of training or experience in Europe. So it was really worth it, the month we spent in Europe learning and improving.
Nice. All right, Prof Striker, around the major qualification or the IM winter stuff, the EPL conference, do you have any questions pertaining to that, boys?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of continue on your lead there, then coming from Europe, going to NA to play against this team, and the NA being in the state that it is right now, where you don't really have a lot of top teams, and the top teams that we kind of have aren't that top to say. What was it like to play this tournament? Because I mean, in ESEA, you were even stuck in like playing. I don't know even where you started, but you're just got out of advanced, so you didn't really play so many top teams. But what was it like just coming back and playing the competition that was available in NA?
Yeah, I think we just played what was in front of us, and our goal was to win every tournament we played in NA. Of course, DreamHack, IM Winter Qualifier, and RMR. We are talking about different stuff. It's not ESEA Advanced or Cash Cup. But for us, to be really honest, the first tournament we played here was ESEA Cash Cup after the first RMR, where we lost in the qualifier. We didn't even qualify to the main event. And playing this tournament is for me individually, it's frustrating to be honest, because the level is not too high, and but for the team it was really important because we got to play tournaments and get experience as a team, and for the young players as well to get more experience, because I think it's the best way to improve and get a lot of experience is playing tournaments. So we did that. And but talking about the level and the tournaments we played, I guess that what I fight every day here is for us to play the right CS. What I consider playing the right CS. We don't like to play random or buggy style, or just running around the map. We like to be. I mean, we like to be a team, and we like to have our stuff, and we like to bring that consistency you need to build a strong team. And that's I don't really care if we win RMR playing against, let's say Liquid and Furia and EG and Triumph and all these teams, if we play the right CS. And I think that we are playing the right CS. If we play the same way we played against Liquid, for example, we can beat European teams. And I don't care. I mean, I'm just saying that because I don't care if we win big or small tournaments. What matters for me is playing the right way and not playing random or something like that.
I'm just curious because you keep talking about right CS, and there's obviously one kind of like a specific question here, which and kind of like a way you approach Counter-Strike, which is very unique and very not, I guess, common, which is your approach to AWPing in general, because like you basically have 4 different people picking it up at different times. So how come that has kind of like stayed your identity since the start? Like, I know from the start you were kind of saying that, okay, everybody can kind of pick up the op, but like I think everybody kind of expected the team to eventually get to a point where somebody kind of like becomes the primary opper, but that like never really happened, at least not in my eyes, I feel like. And even from the stats when I was looking through like who has like what weapons and stuff like that, it's just all over the place, right? So tell me about that approach in general. Why did you stick to that essentially?
Yeah, when we built this team, we had 4 guys that were solo B sites. It was me, Latto, Bartin, and Dumau. We were both holding the B bomb sites on city side. It was insane. So and then we had Phelps. Phelps was the only one. I mean, that was easy to find the positions for him to play because he was the only A player, A side player in our team, and we had to move a lot. Like we had to change a lot in the beginning of the team, and of course the AWPer was always a question, right? So what we do with the AWP nowadays is it depends a lot. It depends on the map, it depends on the game, it depends on the round, it depends on the, and we think that being this way, it's hard. It's hard for the opponents to read what we are going to do, because, for example, on City South side on Nuke, I was AWPing a lot the last tournaments. I was AWPing on the B side on B ramp on Nuke, and it's a different approach when you play against a team that is playing with a dedicated sniper on the B side. It's different, but I also know how to play with rifle there, and for the next nuke we play, maybe it's someone else with the AWP, or maybe it's dumau outside AWPing, or maybe we don't have one. So this is kind of good to play with, and that's something we talk about a lot, and me and our coach and our analysts too. We discuss about this kind of stuff. So even though it feels like kind of random, it's not random. We think when we gonna use and how we're gonna use the sniper, and in a way, it's good that everyone can play with it. I can't say that everyone is good with it because it's a different team, but everyone can play with it. I can hit my shots with the AWP. Of course, I'm gonna miss a lot of shots too. But when you kind of, for example, when you kind of know that you're gonna be AWPing this map, this specific map, and this specific game, it's just it's different than being a dedicated AWPer. You know that it's just one thing that you're gonna do this game, and that's it. Maybe next week you're gonna AWP again.
Keeps you both very flexible.
Yeah, how dependent on like improvisation is that? Is there like an actual system behind like who used, like I imagine like obviously it's dependent on maps and sides and stuff like that, but it doesn't even seem like it's consistent. Like you play one map consistently where one guy only has the AWP. It doesn't seem like it's always going to be set one guy on the same map on the same side. So is there a system, or do you just improvise, saying okay, like now we're kind of like fucking up on B, would be good to bring an AWP there? That's kind of like the approach, or how does it work even?
Yeah, that works too. That's a good of everyone being able to buy the AWP at least. When we need a AWP, like A overpass, we need to we even double AWP. We double AWP on A overpass with latto and Phelps. So yeah, definitely when we it's crazy, right? Like from no AWPers to double AWPing on A overpass. It's crazy, but it's actually part of the system. We know we plan this kind of stuff, and also everyone is totally free to pick up the AWP when needed during a match.
Okay, so let's.
I just want to make point that it's super rare. I don't know any other team that is doing like this. Like we have teams that don't have a dedicated AWPer, and then they just like force playing with rifles all the time. But like overall, I think when you look at GODSENT's overall AWP kills, it's on par with like a normal team. It's not like you're shying away from the AWP. It's just like everyone is using it as a secondary AWPer almost. It's like everyone's from the 5 to like 15% on the team. Maybe one player isn't using it. I don't remember exactly, but everyone is using it. If we go to teams like Liquid or like G2 nowadays, like which players are going to be using the AWP the most, even though they kind of didn't, like the old Liquid, right? Or G2 now. You know who's going to be using it. Like Nitro is going to use it, but it's not going to use it that much. So it's a very special situation going on in GODSENT there.
Look, I think it's a nice identifying feature. Now let's take it one step back, right, and then we'll come into this, because I think what we can do is, right, for the people at home, we'll give them a bit of a timeline, right? Because I think it was about this time last year, give or take a month, whereas things kind of ground to a halt with MIBR, right? And then rumors started to swirl. I think it was in November of last year that you and Dead were going to be forming a new project with the likes of Phelps and some of these younger names. And then earlier this year, mate, it was in January, I'm pretty sure it was, and I'm sitting there, and there's this guy who works for Endpoint, Tom something or other is his name, but anyway, he put a post up, I think, on Reddit about your team, and at the time, the name was Troop. It was like TRUPE or whatever, right? And he put up the link for that, and you were playing Endpoint on Inferno, and I joined in, and I was watching that through the link, and I was like, okay, this is interesting, right? Because the Taco story now, he was, in the legendary Brazilian days, winning those majors, and then it's all kind of fallen apart. He's had his time in Liquid, and things have kind of fallen flat for everybody in that team, right? And then you were the one who's gone back. You've reinvented yourself as an in-game leader, which first of all was fucking awesome. Second of all, you've taken a chance on the younger names, right? Because this is what you did. You built a project out of nothing with Phelps, who, mind you, is a great name to pick. I don't think we ever really got to see him at 100% within those Brazilian rosters before. You've rebuilt this team. And like, I think first and foremost for you, how did you come about this decision? How was this the one that you wanted to go with? Because you could have done international teams again. You've already done that Liquid stuff where you were speaking English as a primary language. Why did you want to go in this direction?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to talk about, and thank you for the words. I appreciate it. When I left my old team in, I think it was November or October last year, I was not really in a good place of mind, I would say, and I decided to just take a step back and not even listen to any offers that would appear, or not really think about CS. I went to literally I went to a desert, not desert, a desert, not desert.
Desert?
Desert.
Desert, yes. I was mining before already. I always do that with dessert and desert.
Not as tasty.
Yes, but I went with my brother and a cousin to. I went to a dessert, not dessert. I'm kidding. I went to a dessert. Fuck it. And we were just there chilling without cell phones and talking as family, because I really needed that at that time. I really needed, and there I discussed and I thought about my career and about what I wanted to do. And after that, I started to listen to offers and stuff, and I don't know, whatever people wanted to talk to me. And I got some offers to join NA teams. I got some offers to just do whatever, but it was not what I really wanted to do. I was really close to sign with NA team back in the days again, but in the end, it was not what I really wanted to do. So after that, I just decided to wait a little bit more, and because it was getting closer to the end of the year, and the end of the year is where things happens, and I just wanted to wait and see my options. And Ricardo, dad, he came to me to talk to me, and he wanted to know what I was going to do and what I was planning to do. And I told him that I was just waiting, and he said that Phelps wanted to build a team, and he wanted to play with me, and he thought that I could be a good name to build a team around. And I decided to listen to that, and I decided to take a look and investigate a little bit. And instantly, when I heard about the names, of course, the first name that came to our minds was Dumau. He was playing for ISSAA, and he was doing great there. The second name that came was Latto. He was playing for Red Canids in Brazil, and he was the best player in that team, and one of the best players in Brazil too. I didn't know him because when I was in Europe and NA, you don't really follow the Brazilian tournaments, the Brazilian competition, So I didn't really know Latto or any of these players that were playing in Brazil back in the days. So who really brought Latto was Phelps, because Phelps was playing for Boom, and he was playing in Brazil, the Brazilian tournaments, and he played against Latto, and he said, Taco, this guy, he will be something. He's good. He's a great player, and to bring Latto to the team was just literally okay. Phelps, I trust you. It was literally like that. I didn't even know the guy, or I didn't watch anything. I didn't even analyze anything. It was just okay. Taco, this guy's good. Okay, Phelps, I believe in you. Let's do it. And then we brought Latto. Dumau, I already knew he was good. And then the last one was Barting. When Barting came, he was playing for Team One at the time, and I played against him few games and few practice as well, practice maps. And the guy had a really good aim, and he was the best player for Team One, and he was doing really great in NA tournaments as well. So we just decided to go with him. He was doing really great at the time. The thing that me becoming an in-game leader was just that after many years, I had the chance to play for big teams and great teams and play with good in-game leaders and talk to great minds of CS and learn a lot about the game. And I'm someone that study the game a lot, and everyone that plays with me knows that I like to study and watch and take notes and copy and create and think about CS a lot. And I think it was just, okay, it makes a lot of sense for Taco be the in-game leader, and I mean, especially with young guys and young players, Phelps, it's not his, it's not his, it's not from Phelps to be the in-game leader, it's not his style. It's not the way he likes to play, or it's not the role he likes to be in. So that's how we choose me myself as an in-game leader. And then we started the project. In the beginning, it was really hard. We went to EU, and then we played this DreamHack qualifier, and that's where we played against Endpoint, and we actually did great. I mean, we had only 10 days of lineup, and we played against Endpoint, which is a good team in Europe, and we almost won against them. It was 16-13, something like that, and but it was only 10 days of team, and but it was already a good sign, at least for me. Like, okay, these guys playing in Brazil, they never played a tournament, and they come to Europe, and after a week in Europe, they already play a good team, and they don't feel the pressure. They don't, they just play CS, and we almost won. That's what I need. And what really helped me was the fact that with the new players and the young players, they brought back that fire and that will that I kind of lost in the way, in my career, in a point of my career, and they brought back. And when they joined the team, when I see the love they have for the game, and when I see that they really want to win, they really want to improve, they really want to be better, my only option was to give my best and share all the experience and everything I know as a player, and as a in-game leader, or as a person, or whatever I know. I just wanted to share and make sure they get the best out of it, and that's what I'm doing since then. I'm just lucky to have these kind of people around me. Of course, I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy that I chose to be a part of this project. It was not something, like I told you guys, it was not something like really planned. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna move this piece and this piece and this piece. It was just people that really wanted to win, and really wanted to work, sticking together, and building a team. It was pretty much like it.
I mean, just kind of touching on that, like these three names, I think if you went on the HLTV forums that said like who are the three best talents from Brazil at that time, I think these are the three names you'd get like 90% of the time. So, and taking into account that people, at least in the past, were saying, oh, you can't buy anyone in Brazil, the buyouts are so huge. I mean, even you guys, when you were in an MIBR or at different times, and then when you left and they were searching for different players, they're like, oh, everything's too expensive. So how did it happen that you got these 3 guys who, as I said, all 3 kind of star players? Were the contracts just running out, so it's like good timing, or how did that work?
This part of the negotiations and this part of the stuff, it was all Ricardo taking care of. I'm never a part of any kind of negotiation. And in the team, the only time I talked to the players, like to the three players that came to the team, was just in-game stuff. Hey, so I heard you are negotiating with our team. It's gonna be a pleasure to play with you. I'm here to help, and I think you're gonna join this team. We are like that. We like to do that and that and that. That was my part, and also to try to convince the players. It's also important. Some of them in Brazil, it would be a dream to play outside of Brazil with, with Fallen, with me, with Cold, with Fur, with these big names that they grew up watching. And when I talk to these guys, they really I can really see that they really want this chance, or they really want this thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, my part in the negotiations with the contracts and all this stuff.
We'll ask Ricardo in Stockholm when we see him. We need to get some, at least off the record, some details.
The businessman.
Yeah.
But I also heard that it was not too difficult to get the buyouts. We have huge buyouts in Brazil, but
no one pays them.
it all depends. It all depends a lot. Like when we were in SK Gaming and we needed to buy someone in Brazil. Okay, we need to buy Phelps now. FNX was out of the team. We needed to buy Phelps. Oh, you need Phelps? Okay, Phelps is $100,000, for example. I'm just saying a random number.
Yeah.
100. Oh, okay, 100,000. Yes. Oh, but it's for SK Gaming. 300,000 now. So that's why I believe people have this image. It's not like as bad as people think, and we were not SK Gaming at the time. We were GODSENT and new project, blah, blah, blah. So people, instead of asking for 300K, they would ask for the 100.
Yeah.
So it was easier because of that.
All right, not milking the cash cow. Striker, from what Taka was talking about before, did anything perk up that you want to take us down a direction of, or
no, more like just kind of to get to the point where, how did you even get to this point, right? To where you have had this success, in this past, let's say 2 to 3 months, where you've actually started winning something, like obviously, especially in North America now, but generally, like, how did you make that step up? What do you think has made the difference in the past couple of months?
Well, I would say that it was so. I'm finding the word exhaustive.
Okay.
So exhaustive, like really exhaustive. In a point that in these last grand finals we played, like BO5s and BO3s and best of ones and all this stuff, I was just praying we would have a break, like we would have a few days to rest, because we were not even practicing, only playing tournaments every day, tournaments. So I was really, really exhausted, to be honest. But it's not from now, it's from the last months and last year, it was so exhaustive. And I think it's just hard work. I don't know. I always had this thing with me that I know how to play CS. I know how to set up a team to play CS. I know what's needed to be a good team. Of course, the way I think about CS is not the only right way, or the way that CS should be played, or something like that. I'm not trying to be this guy here, but I have a way that I believe that CS should be played. That's the way I learned back in the days, and of course, that's a upgraded way because with time and experience and playing tournaments and all of this, you of course you get more knowledge and you adapt to change. But the way I know how to play CS comes from all the teams that I played for. So let's say I learned a lot from Fallen back in the days. I learned a lot from Fur, FNX, Code, all these guys because they were older than me. They learned me. They taught me a lot. I learned a lot from them. What else?
Well, did it
Liquid.
just? Oh, go ahead.
Liquid was a team that I learned a lot because we didn't have a main AWPer in Liquid, so I learned a lot there too. And I mean, it when I wanted to when I want to make my team play, I always think about these experience that I had in the past, you know. So that's the CS I think we should play, and I know that, and I know that I know that.
Right. So was it just
So
about passing on that knowledge to the new guys then? Because you have a lot of
yes,
young guys, right? So it's bound to take some time. So is that all it took? Just like kind of to try to pass on that knowledge and explain to them what CS should be looking like?
yes, and CS was really stressful for me, like really stressful. I didn't want to play CS anymore. Like the last year was really stressful. I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to play tournaments. I didn't want to be in a team. I didn't want to do nothing. Like I was done, you know. And uh, GODSENT and this project was what made me come back and made me feel alive again. Because even though I was not feeling alive, I wanted to feel alive. I wanted to do something, and I knew that the knowledge and the experience that I have could be really rich in good hands, you know. And when I saw that those players and this team that I'm playing for now are good hands, I had no doubt that what I had to do, you know. I had no doubt. So I'm really grateful for my teammates that I have now, and also I want to, in a way, I want to make them better. You know, I want to give my best to make them better.
I think if people are looking for maybe that kind of what you're talking about here, right? I witnessed this just the other day with the Copenhagen Flames guys. I don't know if everybody at home saw the celebration when they qualified for the major, but it's a bunch of young guys, and you can see what it means to them to qualify for something like the major. Like for you, I'm assuming it's the same kind of thing. You can see that emotion that you once had yourself in other people, and that right there is like the most beautiful thing about this, right, is it humanizes it again. I think we lost a lot of that over the last 2 years. We lost a lot of that. So it's great that you found that again. Because when I saw the Copenhagen Flames guys like the other day, I was like, oh shit, like that's it. Like that's what we're doing this for. So obviously we always know that the Brazilian teams are very passionate, right? When we watch your boys play though on the cams, you guys seem pretty like mellow and chill. Doesn't look as like crazy as the Oplano guys, for example, right? Like, do you think you guys are a bit different from the other Brazilian teams in that regard?
We are shy, really shy,
Okay.
but we are good guys. Like we also celebrate in our way. I mean, our staff and people behind us, they celebrate more than us players. And the last RMR, when we playing against Triumph, the last game to qualify, when we won against them, uh, RMR's events for everyone. I think you guys know already, but people watching, we cannot have anyone in the room, like anyone. It's only 5 players, no coach, no analyst, nothing. Just not even my dog could be there. Not even my dog. And then it was only us players. And when we won against Triumph, it was weird because everyone was really happy, really hyped. I could see in their eyes, and when we won, we just hug each other, you know, like, yeah, nice guys, we won, like, thank God we won, like, nice, that's nice. And then because of the delay, after a few minutes comes the staff, the GODSENT staff, they come celebrating, breaking everything in the house, and we were like, what is that? It's not that we don't like emotions or something like that. We have it, but we are just shy. We like to focus a little bit more on the game. We like to bring this hype, and as the in-game leader, I also try sometimes to put some energy in the team. But it's just a matter of the players we have. Like Phelps. Phelps is ice cold. He's no emotions, and that's Phelps. You don't have, you can't change that. That's him. You have Latto. Latto is almost like Phelps. He's shy. He's not shy when he knows you, but he's shy. But he's not gonna be the one, like celebrating and no, it's not gonna be Latto. Barting, he's I think you guys gonna have the chance to meet him in some tournament, and he also talks English. He speaks English, so you're gonna talk to him. He's the nicest guy I have ever met in my entire life, and I'm not kidding. You're gonna see. I don't want to talk much because it's gonna sound like bullshit. I don't want to.
Fair enough.
But you're gonna see in the future because he's young and he has his entire career in front of him. So you're gonna see how nice of a guy this guy is, and he likes to celebrate. He was the one celebrating a lot when we won in the videos GODSENT posted on social medias. And we have Dumau. Dumau, he's young. He's really young, and he has this fire. He likes to celebrate, and he screams a lot during the games, and he has this style. So in the future, what I think, if we play LAN tournaments and if we keep playing LAN tournaments and getting the spots to play big tournaments on LAN, I think you're gonna see like probably Dumau, very explosive, almost coldzera style. You're gonna see me. I either celebrate or think. So nowadays I I would rather thinking and giving the call for the next round. And Phelps, it's Phelps. You already know him. It's Phelps. He's not gonna change. And Latto, Barting, you're probably gonna see him a little bit less than Dumau. And Latto he's like Phelps. He's not gonna be celebrating that much. So that's what you can expect from GODSENT Inland.
All right, awesome. That's really cool.
Phelps, I remember even back in the days when like you guys were at every tournament and winning half of them at least. And I was like, let's do an interview with someone from SK or okay, and then it's like always like Fall, and then it's Taco, then okay, you get coldzera, then maybe you get Fur, and then Phelps was like, no. Just like like a Zyu almost. Like no, and then like 7th tournament, I'm like talking to your managers, like, okay, I'll bring you Phelps. And then Phelps was like almost like you have a gun to his head. That's how the interview went. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just respect his wishes next time. It'll be fine.
Boys, I want to go for a little bit of a pivot here.
Let's go.
I want to get into who wants to be a skinionaire, and then we can kind of pick Taco's brain as we're going through the other topics, all right? Because I'm sure we can relate a lot of things to GODSENT here. Before we move on to that, sorry, Lucas? Oh, okay. Before we move on to that, this is a bit more of a personal one here, Taco. Is Joachim with you guys in Mexico?
No, he's not.
No? I saw him in some of your videos. I had the pleasure to meet him when I was doing an ASUS ROG thing. His media company was the one that kind of came around the world with us, and he's a lovely guy. I've seen him with you. He's a lot of fun. He's a great bloke.
He's one of my closest friends in the team, like in the org. He's such a nice guy and such a nice person, and yeah, you are lucky to meet him in one of these this filming, whatever you did, because he's a really nice guy.
What does he do for you guys? What role does he have in the team?
He's I don't know in English, but he's I think he's the head of content, something like that.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. All right, nice. Okay, so while I get us back into Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, I don't know if they explained this one to you here, Taco, but basically what we have for you right now, it's going to be a quiz. Now this quiz is brought to everybody at home by one of our sponsors, and there's some skins on the line. Now, every question that you get right moves the little arrow up a notch into a more expensive skin. So if you get all 5 right, they win. Somebody at home in chat right now wins a skin worth $50, right? Otherwise, it's like 15 or it goes down, right? So basically, this is a little bit of fun. We're going to get into this one right now. We should have a little. I got to find the link. It's over here. And I'm going to read out these questions and we'll go through these live. All right. So are we ready? Do you think you're ready for this?
Guys, I'm sorry in advance.
Aren't you,
fine. We'll give you a
aren't
couple
you
hints.
amazing with these questions, if I remember correctly? You're pretty good with some of the quizzes that we did in the past.
I played two quiz.
Okay.
One with Fallen, one with Nef. I think it was okay. I would
The
say.
Fallen one was good. About that one I remember. I don't remember the knife one right now.
The Nef
All right.
one was in Malta.
Yeah.
Malta. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't do that one.
Oh shit. That was like 2018 or something. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. Guys in chat, to enter, type Bitskins in chat. We're gonna get stuck into question number 1. They get 60 seconds to answer these, and they're multiple choice questions. So let's kick off. Who wants to be a skinionaire with Taco? Question 1. Which team did Wood 7 and Turtle play for before joining MIBR? Was it A, Sharks, B, Bravos, or C, Imperial? And then you can just click the answer on the link for us.
Easy.
Easy?
1, 2, 3. Okay. I
Bravos.
answered.
All right, locked in.
Nice.
And correct. All right, a great way to start things here. So we just saw them play yesterday, right? They had their debut in the MIBR roster. Yeah. All right, question number 2. Let's see how far Taco can smash this one out of the park. NIP are number 3 in the world after winning IEM Fall EU. Before Monday, when was the last time they were ranked as high? Was it A, 2016, B, 2018, or C, 2020?
Well, I will say 2016 because 2018, I guess they won the. No, it was 17. Yeah, it's 16.
Okay,
I locked in.
All right,
Going for
confident there.
16. Very confident.
Confident. Here we go. And he's correct. That has been a long time. Holy shit. 5 years. Wow. Okay. All right. 2 for 2. Taco smashing it. Question number 3. Who won a 1v5 against G2 in the Blast Showdown? That was today.
I just watched it.
Was it A, Nighttime, B, Moon, or C, Starry?
Man, I watched it on Vertigo.
Yeah.
I was just watching, but I didn't pay attention on the nickname. Oh my god, man. I have some. Do you have
all 3 of these nicknames exist and are Chinese pairs. I'm just saying.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I went that far.
I thought it was just made up. Do you want to give him a tip, Chad? There.
I don't know what tip I could give him in 15 seconds.
Okay, I will go with Nighttime.
Reconsider. No. All right. Well, Prof's done you with it. Yeah, it's Starry. Yeah, Prof's done you with a trick question here today. Prof really hit you with a trick one. All right. That's all right.
Yeah.
We can recover. All right. Question 4.
Nice.
B4 Future Festival returns with a LAN in 2021. Which team won a previous iteration of the event? Was it A, Tricked, B, MIBR, or C, FaZe?
This one I know. I know.
Topical.
Do you? One. Do you? I don't know.
Tricked.
Oh, okay. And the reveal is correct.
That is Hunden's big tournament win, so probably because of that. I don't know why else he would remember it.
Will it be his last?
Were you maybe there? I don't know.
No.
Bubzkji was the MVP. Fun fact.
No.
Oh wow. Bubzkji was the MVP.
I don't think
I was not there. I was not there. No.
All right. Well, that's a good. I wouldn't have been able to answer that one. What the fucking hell? When was that event?
2018.
2019. 19.
Jesus.
19. Yes.
19. Yeah.
All right. Question.
We lost to.
You were there?
Just for the chat to know, we lost to Tricked in the final, in the grand final. That's why I know.
In your memory. All right. Question number 5. Which of the following players wasn't featured in HLTV.org's what
This
what's the
is
rest of the
this is
message
just cut
question?
out for some reason, but it's one for the future article
okay.
series.
Which of the
Oh.
following players wasn't featured in HLTV.org's One for the Future series? Was it A, MHL, B, Mayan, or C, Masuta? This is a hard one.
Kinda, yeah.
This is a really hard one.
I think
Yeah.
like one of them is easy.
Yeah, I think Mayern was there.
Yes,
I
but then
remember
it's
Mayor.
between the other two.
Yes. I'm thinking about Misuta because he's playing for a great team like
Yeah.
for a while now, and maybe just because, like it would be something like, oh, you didn't have Misuta, and that's the trick here.
I like your logic. I like it. I feel like you're right as well. Let's see. And you're correct. All right, 4 out of 5 right, and Prof's done some really hard ones tonight. So
Yeah,
that's
true.
that's good shit. That's not bad at all, Taka. Good stuff. All right, so one of our lucky viewers at home is going to be winning a skin worth $15. Who's won it, Lucas? Oh, it's in the chat. Hold up a second. 4VN. Does it say 4VN?
Or IVN.
My eyes are so... I can't see that screen. It's too far away. All right. Well, congratulations to... hold up. Let me lean over. 4IVN. Jesus, boys. The eyes are really troubling me right now. All right. That is Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to you by Bitskins and Taka. You've nailed it. All right. We're going to keep it moving. Let's get into the recent news. Lucas, roll the bumper and we'll get talking.
The Xtrfy M42 RGB, what a fun mouse with 5 colorways, lightweight frame at just 59 grams with the swappable backplate to suit your grip style, the sensor, the easy core, the smooth skates, and driverless control for RGB and DPI is why you should check out the M42 RGB down below.
Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna see you rolling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parimatch, your esports teammate. Buy and sell your skins now. Easy, fast, and safe. The best skin site. Credit card deposits and withdrawals. Instant cash out methods. Get the best deals. Quick, simple, reliable. Bitskins.com.
All right, we're back in business here and in a big way because this topic, we spoke about it on last week's show. It was the first thing I thought about when Astralis qualified for the major. It was who was going to be in the starting roster. Now, I presented a couple of different angles to look at it from last week. Do you get your in-game leader who's won 4 majors before Glaive back in the roster? Do you does Zipex get the bench again, even though he's part of that legendary team? Does Bubzkji, the guy who's been on the bench all the time, does he get the boot again? And well, unfortunately for Bubzkji, he's been the individual who's not going to be playing the major, and he just qualified with the team at the LAN. So right now, that's the latest from Astralis. We spoke about it last week, Striker, and we could understand the logic, right? Do you want to run the people through the logic of that one again?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think we all kind of knew that Glaive would be coming back if it was possible. Like, unless it was like the last few days where his child would be born or something like that. Like, we knew that as long as there was enough time, between his child being born and the major, like, he would just be coming back. Like, there was no question about that, I think. So the only thing left to kind of figure out was who he would replace. And I guess I would imagine the only two reasonable options would have been either Zipex or Bubzkji, just because of, Zipex was the one who took some time out when Lucky was brought in, and obviously, they were searching for an upper for a while, or just like kind of complaining about not having an upper for a while. So I think Lucky was never the guy who would be out in that scenario. And so, like, would it be Zipex playing the major, who obviously has the experience, who has actually been looking quite good in the past couple of weeks and months after having a bit of a struggle, or would it be Bubzkji, who we expected to be in the lineup for 2022, right? And kind of like carry on that legacy of Astralis, like, moving forward, right? So, like, I mean, I think what I thought and what I said at the time was that, like, I would expect Astralis to bench Zipex just because he wouldn't be in the 2022 roster, or that's the expectation. But that it would make more sense if it was Bubzkji, right? So I think I'm glad that almost glad that it was Bubzkji, just because it makes more sense to me in terms of how far straws can go at the major. Like that's, I think, the biggest angle. Like I think with ZipX, I don't think there's a question that there's a better chance that he'll perform at a stage like a
in
major
that environment, sure.
and and just bring Astralis further than what they would have with Bubzkji. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I realize that people are not particularly happy about Bubzkji being screwed over for the I don't know how many time in Astralis. Like that's obviously that's hard, but at the same time, like looking at it realistically, like I think this was the best choice.
Now, look, that's a different conversation in itself here. The first one I want to make sure we get through, and Taka, I want your opinion on this as a player, right? If you were in Bubzkji's position, like what do you think of this situation?
It's a very sensitive topic. It feels bad for him probably, but I was thinking about it, to be honest. If I had to make the decision, I would make the decision that would make me in the end would make my team win. So I understand why people are mad because of the decision and all this stuff. But I also understand why Astralis did that. Like they, I mean, they have to think about performance and they have to put the best team on the server. And I think that's, at least in their minds, that's what they did, you know? So in a way, I understand them. I get what they did. And I also get why people are mad about Bubby's situation. And I also understand why Bubzkji is probably feeling bad right now. But I mean, if I was him, what I would just shake it off and keep doing my thing. And in the future, yeah, in the future, I mean, things when you work in the future, things tend to, to be all right. So if I was him, I would just shake it off. That is nothing much to do.
Yeah, it is a pretty heartbreaking situation from the personal standpoint, but I think in terms of what you're talking about there, it makes a lot of sense because when we look at the constellation of this team, when they had the roster they had at the RMR, it made sense because Bubzkji got to be an aggressive element. If Glaive comes back in, well, he's quite aggressive in a lot of the moves he does, right? So that's going to overlap with where you can get the most out of Bubzkji. Makes sense to keep Zip, like what's being said there from Striker. But what does this say about the future of the team here, Prof? Because do you think this is a situation where it says about the faith of the team in Bubzkji going forward? Do you think it mentioned, or do you think it says anything about maybe they just wanted to give the four of them an opportunity to try and defend their major trophy? Do you think it's from the angle Taco's saying, where it's just the best team they think they can field? What do you think is this in Astralis?
I mean, however you put it, like we all agree that this is probably the roster that had the biggest chances to go far, especially if you take into account that Glaive is coming back, right? It makes sense. So, but you can't just ignore the fact that you just shafted a guy that's been in your team for a year and a half. Right? You can't ignore it. Like that is something that you're taking that into account when you're making this decision. And that for me implies that probably long term they're not counting on Bubzkji to be a part of the team. I feel like it's very hard to see them after the majors saying like, oh no, now you can come back after all. It's like this guy has been benched and unbenched so many times in this team that I don't know how he, after you miss out on a major, because this isn't any other tournament and this is a player that has not played any majors. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he has not played a major before. This would be his first chance to do that,
and he qualified.
And he essentially he got you there. Like
he had some good performances too.
He was the second highest rated player for Astralis in this team.
I was consistent in the groups rating. Even where it was important. Like this, just he just got fucked as everybody else in the team. Essentially, those last two series where they didn't do anything.
Yeah. So stuff like it's for me. I don't know if I'm in his shoes. I don't see how you get over it and say like, okay, now I'm gonna, like, whatever happens, I'm gonna be there, a soldier to wait in line, because it doesn't seem like he was kind of prompted that this was a possibility before the event. I don't think that was the case, because if that's the case and they actually have a 6-man roster, then okay, this is a 6-man roster, we'll decide before the event. But it seemed like everyone was just like, oh, it's not me who's going to be sitting out, and everyone felt like they maybe deserved it to some degree to be there at the major.
Yeah.
So yeah, that for me implies that Bubzkji isn't going to be part, especially if you have config, which is where the rumors are that it's coming in. You have glaive, and then you have an opper. Do you really need another player like that? Even potentially the priest thing, we don't know details about that. But if you have Dupree or Bubzkji, you're probably still leaning towards Dupree if that's a possibility. So yeah, it's just a very difficult situation unless Bubzkji kind of can reinvent himself as a different type of a player to fit that Zipnik's role, right?
I did see some takes on Twitter today with people going, "Oh yeah, but like we're talking." I'm paraphrasing, and I'm not even. I don't even know if I'm paraphrasing. This is the sentiment that I was reading: is that it's a big team. That it's an organization now. If they're running a 6-man roster, then these things are possible. This happens, all the time in traditional sports, right? You don't. But this isn't. We're not there yet, right? Like
No.
Extended rosters have been flirted with for a year now, right? They've been about a year. We've dipped our toe in. We've seen what it's like. Some people like it. Some people stick with it. Some people don't like it. But this isn't regular for Counter-Strike. It's not regular for... This is the reason that the RMR rules, like the points are going to the players and not the teams. So this shit doesn't really happen, right? Like it's... These kind of rules are to protect the players who qualify, but still with the flexibility for the orgs to make decisions. So we're kind of at a bit of a tipping point, I would say, where maybe, unfortunately for Bubzkji, he is the first case of this happening, and we will remember this, but this might be the beginning of what will become the norm, but it's not the norm. So I hate the fact that like people want to grab it from that angle and talk about it like that's just the way it is. It's like, well, no, this is the first time I can remember, other than when we had the coach hijinks in the past, right, where you sub the coach and then you sub the motherfucker out. Like we've seen people bend that rule before. But this is the first time where it's happened to this extent. So it really does suck for the kid, but we can also understand it. So we're all on both sides of the fence, it feels like. The community get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important caveat to this is that, like, I don't think it was ever meant to be a 6-man, like an actual 6-man roster, right? It was always going to be about who is going to be the main 5. Like, there's no way that wasn't the plan. Like, from the start, we saw Astralis, like, not even use their extra players because
it wasn't like Vitality.
They were out. They were out of the team, essentially. Like, they were off. Like, that's what happened with glaive. That's what happened with Zipex. Only then did Astralis start going to the 6-man route because they just had no other choice. They just needed to bring in new players to actually be able to play tournaments, right? So that was like their only solution. And the only time we actually saw them swap players in and out was like towards the end of the year last year, where is this last year? This is last year, yeah. I'm just kind of like COVID.
Yeah,
and COVID fucked me up, man. It's really hard to kind of like set the timeline right. But towards the end of last year, when Bubzkji was starting to play Nuke, and like they at least, there was at least a hint of them trying the 6-man thing, right? But that was like whatever, a 2-month period, and then Bubzkji was out again for a while until their device went out. That's basically like the time where Bubzkji started playing consistently again. So there was never a 6-man thing apart from like a 2-month period. So I think that's the biggest problem that you just have to feel for Bubzkji, right? Like he just, I don't think he ever signed up for this in the first place. Like I think this isn't how it was presented to him when he joined the team. I can only speculate. I don't know it, but that's how it feels to me for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely got the short end of the stick in a lot of these situations. Now, are you guys cool to segue on to the next one? Cool. All right, Taka, what I want to do is I want to get your thoughts on the 6-man roster, and then we'll jump over and start talking about the recent news from Fnatic. What do you think about the 6-man situation? When you saw it happening last year, were you like, oh, this will be a change for the future, or do you think, nah?
Oh, I like changes, and that's a discussion I was having with Ricardo too. He was saying, Taco, if you are saying that you agree with 6-man roster, but if you were the one being on the bench, you wouldn't agree with it. And to be really honest, I would. I don't care. I think it would. I mean, if it's it could be good. I liked when Vitality was doing that with what's his name?
Nivera. Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to Valorant already, forgets his name. Like, fuck that guy.
I'm really bad with names, especially if the new ones.
Brother, we'll just call him.
But so yeah, I agree with that. I think it's nice, but maybe people just gotta be more real, I would say. I don't know, because like GODSENT, they wanted to do they are building the academy team for GODSENT. And the truth is they want to build this academy team because they want to develop players to you know to make players better, to give better conditions for players, young players, etc. But also they are doing this because in the future they want to replace me with someone from the academy, for example. And it's not something like bad to listen to, or that's the truth. I know that I'm 26. I'm not too old, but I'm not too young, and I'm not too young like I was 5 years ago. And I know that soon, maybe in 2, 3, 1, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, soon I'm not gonna be here anymore. Someone will have to do the job. Someone will have to be here. And what they are trying to do is getting someone from the academy ready. And my job here is to lead my team, like the main team, and also I also support the academy team, and I do my best to develop and to share experience, and so I think it's 6-man roster is really nice. It could work, but I think now it's when the academies and all this stuff came. I think it's just a matter of being more honest and like explaining to everyone what's really happening. Like we are renewing the lineup and the team, and Taco is not forever. Phelps is not forever. They're not gonna stay in this team forever. Taco will retire one day. Maybe in 2 years we want to kick him because he's not playing well. He's not doing what we want him to do. Maybe in 6 months Phelps is not feeling okay. So that's why we have the academy. That's why that's why we would have a 6-man roster. Or you do like Vitality, like with Nifera. I think it was nice, like changing between
Rotating
maps
around.
and it's rotating. I think it was nice. But Astralis situation was something like yes, we have a 6-man roster. It seemed like they wanted to to put Bubzkji in someone's place, like for the next year, and it never happened. And then, this bad situation came, and everyone talking about it. I think that it's just like, for example, okay guys, you guys are getting old. For example, you guys are getting old. We're gonna replace you, some of you, like in the future. We are thinking about it. We're thinking about this, and we got this guy, and this guy will be the future. Please teach him. Like
Yeah.
then everyone's happy. I think that's the way. I like 6-man roster. I like academy teams. I love that. I think we should think about the future, and that's a good way of thinking about the future. But it has to be in the right way. It has to be done in the right way.
Sure.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I think the biggest difference here is probably Bubzkji, when he was coming in, he wasn't like, oh, you're going to be this like guy that's going to stick around here for a year and maybe get to play 5 maps, because he probably wouldn't have joined if that was the situation.
Yeah,
he was probably told that he would get a bit more action
sure.
than and that's kind of the issue. That's what you're saying. If it's transparent, then it's fine. I want to ask you, because actually you guys didn't really announce the academy team for GODSENT, but you announced the signing of one player who is this 14-year-old wonder kid from Brazil, Snowzin, who is also like kind of like a 6-player substitute something. I don't know what the exact thing is. So can you tell me a bit about this guy? Did you talk to him, play with him at all?
Yeah, I played with him when I was in vacation in Brazil. I actually have there's a YouTube channel of me teaching him B bomb sight on this shoe. I'm
Okay.
showing all the tricks and tips and everything. He's a super talented player. He's only 14 years old, but he plays with the Brazilian pro players already. I mean, for the age he has, he's already a really good player for the age he has, of course. And then GODSENT decided to build a academy team, and of course they asked for options, and they started to study and research, and they found Snowzin, and they wanted to build academy team around him, you know. So he's the biggest talent we have in Brazil now, probably. I mean, Brazil is a really huge country. It's hard to say 100% if he's the biggest one, but he's one of the biggest prospects in Brazil right now, and he's gonna be the one choosing the players and you know,
Holy
the other
shit.
kids
A lot of
that will
responsibility.
be.
The
Yeah,
14-year-old kid, that's crazy, yeah.
yeah, and I mean, he's also watching all the practices, our practices. We talked to him too, like about CS, of course. We talked to his dad a lot. His dad is always with him, and you know, his dad is his. I mean, he's his dad, pretty much. His dad is always covering everything for him. Not covering. His dad's always on his back, you know?
Supervising,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Making sure he's not
Supervising.
getting fucked over, basically.
Yeah. And his dad is super nice too, and he supports him like to be. He really wants his son to be a esports player, CS player, you know, and that's really nice, man.
That's cool.
It wouldn't happen like when I was 14 years old.
There's definitely a shift, right? There's definitely been a shift in that. But this has actually been a really good conversation for us to segue into the next recent news topic, right? We're talking about academy teams here, and we're going to talk about Fnatic benching Jackinho. Now, if people didn't see it, the kid, since the two Brits came in, he was getting a lot of flack on social media, mainly Reddit, I think, is probably the place that it was quite nuclear.
Blame it on
Striker,
Reddit.
our Striker, he can tell you all about that. Yeah, so in recent times, he released a twit longer saying that, you know, there's a lot of pressure and this, that, and the other, but, you know, it was going to make him stronger and he was going to learn from the experience, was kind of the gist of it, right? Now he's been benched. So I don't know how many more opportunities in Swedish Counter-Strike there's going to be for Jackinho at the moment, considering this team is starting to look more international. Do you think this came pretty quick, Striker? What do you make of this whole situation? Because he's been there since start of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty quick is stretching it, just because it's been 9 months or something since he started playing with this team, and it's not like he was ever out or anything. He's actually been playing like consistently, and like you can make an argument that maybe the team wasn't in a place where they could develop him in the right way, because they just struggled quite a lot during a lot of that time, right? So like it's hard to put these results on him, and that's essentially what Fnatic are doing it to a degree, right?
Do you think?
I mean, I guess not anymore, just because of the previous changes that happened in with Alex and Mezzi coming in, right? So that was kind of like the first step of that. But now that, like, that depends on where you look at it, right? Like, if you compare it to like his start in the team, obviously it wouldn't be too early. But then, like, there was a big shift coming when Alex and Mezzi came in, and that's like from then on, I think maybe it might be too early, just because of, you know, it's just an entirely new system and stuff like that. Maybe Alex will find a better way to use him, and just show him how to be a better operator, but maybe, but there must be something that makes them make this move, right?
Well, there is something, right? So they had SPUNJ stand in, right? They had SPUNJ stand in for them, and he looked good. Now we all know our friend SPUNJ comes on the show every now and again. He's a bottle of fun, but that would have been interesting. Would have made the team primarily British, but actually, it turns out that Regali from the Fnatic Rising team is going to be playing in their matchup against Copenhagen Flames. Now, based on what Taco was saying before about the academy teams and the conversations that we seem to have on this show, that would make a lot of sense. Because this kid, if anybody's been paying attention, he's 19 years of age. He's Romanian. He was playing for them in the academy league that we play running. And he's actually the highest rated player for the Fnatic Rising team, right? So it makes a lot of sense. And this is the workflow that, you know, Taco's talking about there, right? If they already had someone in development, and I know that the Fnatic Rising team is very new as well, right? They were literally announced, what was it, the day before they had to play in the first We Play thing, right?
Something like that, yeah.
But he's shone in an environment where there's a spotlight. So do you think that played a factor, Prof? Do you think that Regali being there as someone who's shown promise played a factor in being like, okay, well, if Jackie Boy's not looking good?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's more about there being other opportunities out there than like Jackinho being that bad that they had to remove it right now. I think when you think SPUNJ, like his contract with Movistar gonna be ending sometime soon. You have this kid on your academy team, which is showing some promise, and then there's also that talk about like MHL, the Polish guy, also one for the future.
He recently returned to Ego, didn't he?
He now returned to Ego, but like in the past, there was some talk about maybe Fnatic playing with them, and maybe they also wanted to test him out. And there are a bunch of these options that they maybe could have gone for, and that's why I think the decision was made now. Maybe if the major wasn't 2 months, or if they qualified for the major, they would stick with the roster they have, right? But now that they're in this position where they didn't qualify for the major, so they can like look around, see what's available, and be kind of the first movers, because I think realistically they have to be a bit smart about how they do things, because they're not the team that they used to be, where it's like, oh, we're Fnatic, who do we want? We want this guy. Maybe we want this guy, and then just like pick and choose, right? They need to be smart about their transfer policy, and I guess that's how they're approaching it. And I think like Smua played pretty well with them in the open qualifier.
Yep.
And then they said that he's not going to play for them in the closed qualifier, I guess, because they want to try out a couple of different options to see what works and what fits.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense just in terms of the timing of it, because like literally they have a month or something until the major ends, and until then they can just try out whatever they want. So like even if this necessarily doesn't have to be Jackinho's end, like they can just bring in Regali for a couple of matches, right? Then figure out if maybe he's a better fit, and maybe he's not, and maybe they will go back on Jackinho, or maybe they will just try something entirely different, right? So timing wise, I get it for sure, just because of they don't have anything that important to play that they would need like a superset roster for.
Sure. Okay. So Taco, have you guys had much experience coming past any of the Fnatic rosters in the last 10 months? Were you seeing that this once legendary team was a bit of a shadow of themselves in practice or anything?
Yeah, Fnatic is a team that we used to practice against them. We like to practice against them. But to be really honest, I'm not following Fnatic since everything started to
Fall apart.
Yeah. So I was not following when even when they got Alex, I was not really like watching or following Fnatic in this sense. But I think it's sad, right? Like it's sad to see such a legendary team and organization like out of a major. When I started playing CS, Fnatic was the best team in the world, and the team that was a nightmare. And even back in the days, like when I was not playing, I was only a spectator watching the majors at home. Fnatic, JW, Creams, and these guys are the nightmare, and it's not nice to see them out of the major this time.
Do you think Crims will be able to find that old form still? Do you think he's still got it in him? Maybe having some younger guys around him, like you've had to get that fire back in him?
For sure. Crims is a great player. Also, in 2016 was a player that I most watched, like demos and all this stuff. He's really smart. The way he plays really smart. It's not only skill or something like that. He's really smart, so that's why I believe he, with the right people around him and dedication, and if he wants, of course, he can still be one of the best.
Cool.
I wonder what's happening with Brolin and how much possibly this whole communication thing is affecting him, because that seems like the only reasoning for him to being this awful at IMFall, especially, and just in general since this change came in. Like it's difficult to tell.
Well, there's a couple of reasons, I reckon.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I think first of all, like Brolin got to thrive. I wanted to say something to trigger Prof then for a second. Brolin got to thrive in like a loosey goosey style of a team, right? Where your intuition for the game.
I'm the Krieg meta.
I was gonna do it, but I left it.
I mean, there's no way you're that bad suddenly just because of a gun, being.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. I just wanted to troll, all right? But I think that the way that the team was before was very reactive, right? I think that if there's a big adjustment, especially for a guy like him who's grown up in Swedish Counter-Strike, that through NIP and Fnatic was both more mid-round or reactive teams, right? Now into a system with Alex Shaw, English, yeah, but I've spoken to Brolin a bunch of times. I wouldn't say that his English or the understanding would be such an issue. I think it's going from being more of a intuition-based individual to now having to be more structured. Probably the same thing for Crims, but I think Crims's more passive, cerebral play style can suit that more,
Right.
because for him it doesn't happen. Whereas for Brolin, he is still like, what is he still? He can't be any older than what, 19 now? I'm just checking. He's still very young. He's only 19. Remember, this guy was traveling around the world attending the biggest events when he was like 17.
Yeah.
So I think that for Brolin, he's definitely a talent. He will probably take the longest adjustment time out of him and Crims, right? So at least from just a general glance, I there's no way that he's just gone from being a really good player to being off the radar. So I think it's going to be a matter of time with Brolin, and it's actually going to make him a more rounded player. Remember what Mezzi was saying in that interview, right? Like after Cloud9, I think you said at one point, probably going to be a similar thing, because Brolin goes from not on our screens to on our screens and fucking wrecking people. So I think for him, maybe it's like not like a res situation, or maybe like a res situation, like where it's just going to take a little while before we see consistency of him again. All right, let's jump forward into our next one here. Let me find my little thing. Okay.
Very quick one.
Very quick one. Now, this one here, everybody at home, hello to our Turkish fans. We know that there's some of you out there watching. Eternal Fire, the Turkish super team that wasn't completely Turkish, have gotten rid of their only non-Turkish member, ISSAA, who, in the games that I tuned into, was the one zipping up the body bags and getting a lot of frags. So to me, when I read that, I was like, oh, I guess the Turkish lessons aren't going very well. But was there an official reason cited for this?
Officially, they said something like he moved to Turkey, but Turkey didn't work for him.
He moved to Turkey?
Yeah, because they are like boot camping and living there, whatever, something like that.
Oh.
So that was kind of the situation. And he also, I guess, if you want to learn the language, move to the country. I guess that's the logic, right? Because you're going to be using it all the time. But they just said it didn't work out. Like statistically, he wasn't super bad. He wasn't the best. Like Xantares is carrying this team like insanely.
Sure.
And also in-game leading, which is interesting. But yeah, he's out of the team. They played with Mirbit, who's like Turkish German.
Okay,
and
so
then
he spoke Turkish?
Yeah, so they just spoke Turkish, and he in-game led in Nordavind, but then he got shafted for Oplano, who went to that org.
That's right.
Which is nice.
That's right.
But he's still contracted there, so I don't know if anything's going to happen. And apparently Xantares wants to continue in-game leading.
Okay.
Which is also a very interesting approach. So there's also the ex-Floud kid who was like signed.
He was in Gorillas?
With Gorillas, yeah. So maybe that's an option for them. We'll see.
But who was their in-game leader in that Space Soldiers time?
It was
Major.
Yeah.
Major,
yeah.
But he's with what's the name of his team now? Fuck, I forget the name. Dangal, that's the one. He's in-game leading over there. So they and also I think like for Major, like if he was going to be part of this project, I would see it as a coach, right? Because the problem with him, well, maybe not the problem with him if he in-game led, but I think that they're trying to, if Xantares is enjoying doing it and he's fragging, maybe he's got a bit of the Tabson syndrome, which is great. Like for Tabson now, we're noticing him being out of frag. So it's an interesting one, but there has to be another Turkish name they can get. Like I know you just mentioned one, but there just has to be. Like there's so many Turkish Counter-Strike players.
That's a big country.
Yeah.
I mean, Paz is also an option. These are like 3-4 names that people
they tried out Paz at some point, but it didn't work out for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Derek.
Yeah, okay. Another one of those making that fun suggestion. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get out of the recent news and let's get into more recent news, I suppose. The RMRs, the region major ranking events, came to its close over the weekend. Fantastic. And I just want to say, out of all events that I've worked in my entire life, I have never felt more tired in an event than that one. I don't know if it had to do with like the prison type vibe, not being able to go outside because of the quarantine or whatever. I had never felt more tired. And right now, I have never felt more wrecked. I feel fucking destroyed. So I can't imagine how those teams who are actually stuck inside for 2 weeks are feeling, because it was long. It was a long one, even with the best of ones that everybody hated. But let's start off in the North American side of things. I think that probably makes the most sense because, well, coming out of the North American RMR, let me send you a link here, Lucas. We have a lot of Brazilian names, which I don't think is of too many surprises when you consider just how many Brazilian teams were in attendance. I've just sent it to you, Lucas, if you can bring that up for all the viewers at home. So yeah, we get Fury coming first. GODSENT, Tacos Boys, you guys came in second, but you'd just beaten Fury the other day for the IEM spot. So you got two. You got two over them, I reckon. Then we've got Liquid, obviously Pain, another Brazilian name. We've just seen them in the showdown today. Evil Geniuses, Extremum, Triumph, Bad News Bears, Team One, Extra Salt, 00 Nation, and ATK. Now, I think here getting 3 teams qualified for the major from Brazil is a pretty big deal. Now, Fury, the one we know, GODSENT, the one that we've been talking about tonight, and Pain as well in recent times. I've been hearing good things about them, especially Safe. Everybody's talking about Safe like he's something special. Taka, we'll start there with you. Was Safe a player on your radar when you were building this team?
Yes, we tried to get him first, but he didn't want to leave Pain. It was like a year ago when people were just talking. I think he's a good player. When I watch their games and when I practice against Pain, he's a good player. I think it's weird the fact that he's 26 and he's only. I mean, people are only talking about him now. But from what I saw and watched, he's a good player. Of course, he has to prove himself in the big stages and against big teams. But for the competition he has here, he's definitely above the competition he's playing right now.
Here's a question for you, Taka. With all these Brazilian names making it through, right? Do you feel? And I know this. We all know that this is based off of performance at the major. But do you feel like it would be? Let's just live in a world for a second where Brazilian teams, you get multiple teams through to the top 16, and then let's say you get a couple of teams, like 2 teams through to the top 8. Let's just live in that world with me for a second. Those spots, as far as distribution, is likely to go back to the North American RMR, right? When so many teams are Brazilian that make it through here in the North American RMR, do you think it would be more beneficial if people could just live in Brazil and there would be more spots for Brazil? Do you think it should be that way? Like South America, obviously not just Brazil, or do you think it's okay this way with North America having so many more spots and that's where the best Brazilian teams go to compete?
Yeah, it would make sense to have a lot of spots in Brazil since since this is happening right now, like in North America. But I also think that it's a matter of time until things comes back to normal. At least I hope here in NA. Having many Brazilian teams qualified through the NARMR is just because of the fact that there are not many NA teams playing right now. That's the biggest reason, at least in my mind. Like, if you ask me why we have many Brazilian teams in the major, it's in my mind the answer is because NACS is pretty much dead is too strong, but pretty much
on life support
off.
maybe.
Yes, always a little bit. Of course, it's good. It's good for us as a country, but I don't think it's good for CS overall in general. I think it's bad. We need, and it's nice to have American teams competing, and moving the spots and qualifiers to Brazil would be a dream, of course, but we never wanted to have everything. We never wanted to have all the qualifiers or all the spots or something like that. Maybe we could get more because right now we only have one spot to the major. Maybe we could get more, but I don't think it would be healthy to have like a lot of spots going to Brazil or something like that. I think it's nice when divided, but right now with the fact that American teams are not really playing CS, that happened.
Sure. Striker, what do you make about this whole situation, right? Do you think it makes sense for the region as a whole that there are so many Brazilian teams there to kind of keep it afloat in a way? Like they're propping it up in a way in terms of the competitive nature of the Brazilian teams compared to some of their North American counterparts, right? Like we all remember the story back in the day with Fallen and everybody coming up and sleeping on the floor in the kitchen, right? Like there's a mentality thing, right? I think a lot of people would agree to that.
Sure.
And the Brazilian players have the mentality for it right now.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's kind of cyclical, right? Because it is because of opportunities that teams move there. Like that's the primary reason, right? So like if the opportunities were in their region, there would have been no reason for them to move in the first place. And now obviously, like the opportunities aren't as big anymore, just because of ESL Pro League not really being split into regions anymore, and not offering teams in NA. Just like exactly. Like so, there's basically just. I mean, at this point, outside of just North American qualifiers for big events, which obviously have a few spots every couple of months at like a big event or something like that. Like outside of that and RMRs, there's basically nothing else anymore. So like it would, to a degree, it would make sense for some of these to shift towards Brazil, just so that they don't have to make the move, which is now almost nonsensical, and just only because of these some of these qualifying spots for them to live in North America full time. So like it goes both ways, right? Like you do that and you kind of take away from NA, but then again, like they are kind of afloat a lot because of these imports, a lot of it because of a team, well, maybe not Extreme at this point because they're not even there anymore, but used to be Renegades, right? And used to be some of these teams that went there just for opportunities like, Luminosity and whoever like that. A lot of the time, like these moves improve the region a lot, but at this point, it's kind of like almost that some of these NA teams could go to Brazil almost because of the shift of the importance of the teams. Obviously, like you still have a team like Liquid, who's obviously the best out of like both worlds, essentially, like both regions. So like it doesn't make sense what I said exactly, but that's kind of like how I'm feeling. All good.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying right there. I think the thing is, like back in the heyday, moving to North America was like the mixing pot. Obviously, Taco and his guys moved up there. Me and my boys went over. Obviously, we've seen the South Africans there for some time. I think different regions and stuff have flirted with the idea, like Southeast Asia and whatever, of going to America, because for a while there it was Europe and then it was North America, and that was kind of where we'd clash. But you weren't going to go to Europe because you weren't going to get any opportunities, so you go to North America, which actually strengthened the showing from North American region, but wasn't necessarily North American representation. Now that we've lost a lot of the next gen teams in North America, the dominance is clearly Brazilian. The Extreme boys not qualifying again is rough. The South African guys giving it a crack now. I don't mind that it's this way, but when there's not enough talent in North America to perpetuate itself anyway, that's when you start coming into problems, right? Like,
like it's almost, I don't want to get into too much like into talk of other games, but if people who are familiar with League of Legends, for example, and what's happening there in terms of imports and how that's kind of like shifting the scene, like the grassroots scene in League of Legends in North America is terrible. Like most of the top teams have like several imports, and like considering how the rules work there, like the more that happens, like the fewer North American actual North American players play in the main league, which is crazy. Like they sent I don't know how many teams to Worlds now, and only like I don't want to bring out like the wrong number, but only like a fraction of the people coming from the North American region into Worlds is North American. Like the rest of our imports, and this is actually kind of comparable almost to what's happening now in CS as well, just because of the lack of North American talent and like that space being filled by imports, essentially by Brazilian teams, right? So that's like we have to be careful about that happening as well. So I don't know what the solution is there. I don't know if there is a solution even, because like the grassroots scene in North America isn't great, although like people like Fragdelta are doing their best to kind of like bring some more tournaments to the region and stuff like that. It's still something to think about and something to be careful about, because like that's where North America goes to shit. Like if there's no grassroots scene, there's no North American region. Like there's no talent to go to the top teams, and like eventually a few years down the line, there's no top teams.
Yeah,
so that's how it goes.
I think that there's a level of an entitlement to teams of a certain level thinking that they should be salaried. Like I'm kind of getting that vibe. It's like I understand for people in the modern era of Counter-Strike, they look at esports now as something that you should be paid to do. I come from a generation, and Taco comes from a generation of Counter-Strike players who we did it with no salary. We had to earn the spot, and then from there, once we showed that we were good enough, that's when the organizations and money came. Right? Like
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky. So some teams just completely miss out on that altogether. Now, I think that North America is still very lucky that Liquid are the flagship team, right? I think that's great. And it actually brings Canada, USA, and Brazil together, the three greatest counter-striking nations on both continents together, right? Which is a great thing to have right there. But, Prof, I'm a little bit worried do you think that there will be a slot redistribution depending on how North American teams go, or North American representatives, they're not even North American teams, go at this major? Because I'm a little bit worried that they might lose like maybe one spot altogether, right? Maybe I wouldn't say more than one spot, but I'm a little bit worried that there's going to have to be some readjusting, right?
I mean, at this point, I'm already low-key annoyed about not knowing anything about the next majors. Like I guess the dates should be like as were kind of planned with like May and stuff like that, but we have no idea how it's actually gonna go. In theory, what we talked about last show is maybe moving away from the regional major rankings into just major ranking events. And I went back and read the article. I guess the point is that you invite like the top 8 from let's say PGL Stockholm to an event, which can be, let's say, IEM Melbourne or whatever, and then and then 8 more teams qualify, and the top 8 get some points, right? And then you have 2 events like this before the next major, which should be in May, right? So that's not a lot of time to even have all of these things.
That's true.
And then you, from that ranking, you get like, I think, top 16, and then you get 8 more teams through the minors. The minors still existed in that system, so you'd still
what
have
they presented before COVID, really. Right?
Yeah, that was before COVID. How it was supposed to look. So that would be the difference between, let's say, the legends, the contenders, and the challengers, right? The contenders would be these minor teams. So, and there we'd maybe have that redistribution based on how Europe performs, how NA, South America, Oceania, how these teams perform. Which I think that would be quite okay. Maybe have like 3 spots for Europe. We have like one for Asia, one for Oceania, and then we like figure out the rest is kind of up in the air. Do we have like 2 spots for NA? Maybe then we have 4 spots for Europe or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there was always the thing is there was always 2 spots though for every region in those minors, and I feel like that would still be the same thing. Like because we had Americas,
then
we didn't have
the play-in. The play-in, right? We added the minor play-in, so the 3rd place team from every minor.
Right, because not all 16 teams made it to not all 16 teams made it to the next major. It was just 14, and that's why the play-in was introduced to like figure out those last 2 teams. But I don't think that would be. Yeah, I don't think that would be coming back for this new system. But anyway, like I imagine the minor system would still be the same. We'd have one for the Americas, one for Europe, one for Asia and Oceania.
South America.
No, but I'm missing one. I'm missing CIS. There we go. That's the one for. Yeah, there was no South American minor. It was always America's minor.
That's right. It was. Yeah, the American
from there.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's
okay.
Like the way that it would be affected is how do teams from the Americas qualify, and how many from each?
That's true.
South America and North America qualify for the qualifier, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like where you kind of like how do you determine those teams?
One point that I forgot to tell you guys is that before coming to NA to Mexico to practice and prepare, we had to stay in Brazil because our plans were to go to Serbia to Europe to boot camp, and we couldn't go because Phelps had a problem and I had a problem too, like a health problem, and we had to cancel the boot camp, and then we had to not be in Brazil doing nothing. We decided to come back to practice in Brazil, and we played against Brazilian teams pretty much for our week, and all these teams like Sharks,
Bravos, probably,
Bravos, Paquetá, all these teams, and then we came back and we came to NA to practice too, and I can tell you guys that practice in Brazil was better than practicing in NA.
Wow.
These Brazilian teams are better than the teams we were practice against here in NA, the tier 2 NA teams. You know, there are not many tier 1 teams right now in NA. I would say Liquid maybe, not maybe Liquid for sure.
Yeah.
But that's it, right? So in Brazil we don't have tier 1 teams, but we have a lot of tier 2 teams, and they are good to practice. They have good players, and I was kind of impressed because I never practiced in Brazil before. My practice time was always in Europe or NA, and having the chance to practice in Brazil now was nice. So that's crazy. I would never think about it, to be honest. Like 2 years ago, I would never think that practicing in Brazil was better than practicing ENA, to be honest. Especially because all good Brazilian teams were ENA already. So
I think the thing is though, like with this, right? Without what your team back in the day did, Taco, that would never have been the possibility, right? Because this is the difference maker, right? People are very upset with where North American Counter-Strike is at, right? In terms of, the representation and not getting many opportunities and stuff. Now, I existed in a time where 1.6 and Source were competitors of each other competitively, which sounds ridiculous to say, right? The two CSGO games were competing against each other, but they were. And when CS Source got picked for the Championship Gaming Series, I tell you which way everybody went back in 2007, 2008. It was following the money, right? You had very few people from North American Counter-Strike who stayed with the game. I think Nothing was one of the only players. And that's because he was probably too young to play the CGS, no joke. The rest of them all were turncoats and went to the thing that was going to offer them more money, right? Now, I'm not saying this is a North American mentality. I'm just saying that this is where the opportunity was to make a living. Now, the same things happen with Valorant, right? It's the opportunity for more players to make more money, which for them, right, is do I grind really, really, really hard and maybe get the Grim treatment or the Oboe treatment where I make it onto either a Liquid or an EG, two organizations? Or do I go to Valorant, where my country, right, already loves a good franchise league in traditional sport, and we love a good franchise league in video games, where I know that I'm going to get paid a certain amount of money to play a game that's popular and go a path of least resistance for that. There's definitely, like, it makes a lot of sense why they've done that. Whereas with the Brazilian scene, see Counter-Strike as the opportunity, because what your team's doing now, what your team has done in the past, you guys have shown the Brazilian scene, doesn't matter where the fuck we live, we're going to compete with the best teams in the world. Whereas the North American players, only most of those guys who are going to play in Valorant are only ever going to stay in North America. I don't know if my point here made any sense. It made sense in my head before I started talking. But now I've gotten to the end. I'm like, where was I going with this? I don't know, but we got here.
Yes, it makes sense. It makes
okay.
sense.
I think it makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got there because the Brazilian conversation was what we were having here around the RMRs. Now, what I want to do, boys, and we can talk more about the teams, and we should definitely poke Taco to ask a couple of questions, but is bring up the list here of all the teams who are qualified for the major, because I think that's quite important for us to do. Lucas, let me find you that one right now. I'll send that one your way. So I'll read this out for all of our audio-only listeners at home so they can get the full list of all the teams who have qualified. So this is as per the HLTV .org rankings as right now that I'm going to read this in order. So Na'Vi, Gambit, NIP, Vitality, G2, FaZe, Heroic, Astralis, VP, ENTS, Big, Liquid, Movistar Riders, Copenhagen Flames, Furia, Mouse Sports, Spirit, Entropic, GODSENT, Pain, EG, Renegades, Sharks, and Tyloo. That's all the names. That's all the names that are going to be the major.
And great company right there. The legendary
at the
team.
end.
At the end, it's very.
The EG one is curious, right? Do we want to start there, Prof? Do you want to start there? We can start there.
Well, they scammed their way to the major essentially with that stupid rule at CS Summit where they got invited to the top 8,
and they automatically
essentially
got
the
points.
tournament, which was top 8, and all top 8 teams, regardless of their result, got points, which is ridiculous. And EG lost both games, went out in last place, got a bunch of points, and that's it. When teams like GODSENT, for example, had to play the close qualifier and also actually won some games, but got 0 points. So that's essentially based that plus very, very narrowly getting to like a 5th place decider and then beating Extremum, who had much better results overall. If you look at the placings at RMRs, they had more points because of this thing. So, but it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Insane. Yeah, that is such a big outlier among all of these teams. Like, of course, you can kind of like point to mistakes in the RMR format, but this is like an obvious fuck up. Like, there's nothing else you can call that. Like, that's just terrible.
Well, considering how EG have been performing as of late, right? And this is one of the things. The only reason that EG has been on the screens for a lot of you guys who are watching at home right now in Tier 1 tournaments is because they're a partnered team. Their results and the type of Counter-Strike that they've been playing and the roster moves here, there, and everywhere have not made them a competitive team whatsoever. But I guess they get an opportunity now to right that wrong, right? Because if they go into the major now, Stan's back, Breeze is back, Mihu's here, he's been there for a while, Obo's in this one, Cirque, there's all these conditions. If they can get themselves back in fighting shape for the major and then they perform well, I'm not going to say everything is going to be forgotten, because I know what we're saying here, right? This team is considered skipping the entire first stage, but we have to remember what that was based upon, right? And honestly, I don't think, like, maybe you could say, oh yeah, maybe this other team from the North American RMR should have gone straight into Legends. I don't think any other North American team should be there, right? Like, realistically, the Legends spot should be somewhere else. It should maybe be for CIS. It should maybe be for EU. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like any other North American team would have been more deserving, even if Taco's boys or Payne's boys, for example, had gotten more points in earlier RMR events. Regardless, I think we'd all agree the region probably doesn't deserve more than 2 slots with how it stands right now, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's just how we find ourselves right now. And if they are going to be as bad as what we think they are, then they're just going to get dumpstered and get knocked out first. And then that's why that slot redistribution I was talking about might come into play, because I'm assuming if you lose all your games and you don't get a lot done, that will hold certain weight. Are there any other teams here that we want to dive in? Because I don't know which direction to take this, boys. We could go anywhere with this right now, right? There's so much we could talk about.
I guess we can start with who missed out. That's like one way to one place to start, just because of, like, there's some very obvious names, right? Like in Europe, it was OG, it was Complexity, and I'm missing one team that I have to check back actually.
Fnatic.
There you go. That was like the third big name that kind of like missed out.
Well.
The only one of those, though, right? Like, and this is open to anybody to answer to. Complexity going through a shitload of roster woes. So even if you think that maybe in best of threes they might have done better or not, like, I don't even think that's the conversation. The conversation is coldzera just joined this team. Config just got injured. They've been through the ringer in terms of roster changes. Should they beat like the Movistar Riders? Should they beat Copenhagen Flames?
Yeah.
Like, do they deserve to be there more than those teams? That's a question that I think is subjective. The same with Fnatic. Lots of roster changes, moving away from Swedish Counter-Strike. The name is the bigger loss. Right? The name of those teams is the bigger loss. Is the team themselves a team that you think, like anybody here, and Taco, maybe you got a soft spot for Complexity with coldzera here, but any of those teams, do we think that like they had a realistic chance of going deep within the major other than OG, right? Because OG is the one that I'm glad to go, okay, they missed out. But they also choked to get out of IEM Cologne against Renegades. So, like, are we putting the complete blame like on the format? Are we thinking...
No way. It's just like they fucked up at the IM fall, right? There's nothing, like, obviously if you're not going to place well at either of the RMR events, like that just means you're out. Like that's just how it goes in this system. Like, of course you can make exactly. Like, if you can make the argument that like this system should be different, and like just based on what they did in other events should be enough for them to make the major because they're like good enough to be there, right? Like, that makes sense, but obviously, like, they fucked up where it mattered. Like, that's where it comes down to, essentially.
I know what happened.
What happened?
What happened is that, please guys, don't. It's just a joke. Don't attack someone. I mean, it's for the chat. We were playing practicing in Europe, and we were practicing against OG, and they were destroying us on practice. And one of their players, I'm not gonna say the name, one of their players
Nico?
bought M something
249
something, and started to run around the map. And I got really mad at it because I think it's really disrespectful, especially because it was practice, and I was practicing with my guys, you know. And for them, it was something like, oh man, we are practicing against OG. Oh, holy shit, you know. It's a nice team to practice against, and he did that. So what happened is karma.
Okay.
Karma.
Fair enough.
Karma is
I knew
a
where it was
bitch.
coming.
all you guys saying is not true. It's all about karma.
Okay. Superstitious over there, Taco. I see how it is.
Fair enough.
Well, I
mean,
think
there's no denying that this team hasn't been like consistent enough to prove that they can go like far at the major. Like, obviously, we know that the potential is there. We know that the changes should have had an effect, but like the reality is that they haven't really shown that yet. Like, obviously they have some bright spots, but it's not like a team that we expect to be top 4 at like any other event, right? Like, they're top 10 right now in the ranking, but you know they're fluctuating a lot. So
it's just when you compare it to the rest of the field, right? I think that's the thing, is when you compare it to the rest of the field and you consider some of these other names who are here, it's like, okay, well, would OG beat them? Yeah, probably. So this is the thing though. It's like our event, the major, it's not. We don't just get the 24 best teams in the world. We get like maybe 16 of the best teams in the world, and then we get really good regional representation, right? And I think that's part of the fun, is to have the regional representation, because I think, as people saw today with Lynn Vision, for example, are going up against G2. It's good to have that story. Like it can be an exciting story. I think another standout here has to be Copenhagen Flames. Lucas, can you play this for the viewers at home? You should be able to. Now, this is
the
what
Danish national anthem.
No. This is what I was talking about earlier. And this is their reaction. In case you guys missed it, this was caught by, I suppose, their social media on the phone. And just this here, like being at the event and getting to feel the vibe, right? You could tell for the likes of Fiend, unfortunately, they didn't make it. Obviously, Copenhagen Flames. We've had these underdog names like the Movistar Riders is another example. Ents don't fit into the same bucket, but those three teams, you could feel for these guys like the air of importance, right? And when they won, like just the pure release of the joy that you feel to do something which you slave over every day. You love it. Like Counter-Strike is the obsession, and this is the pinnacle. Like this is the top of that mountain. So like to see this kind of, as I mentioned before, like humanized it all a bit for me, because we've just been in studios for the last 2 years, right? We haven't really had much contact with the players. So this here reminded me like what the fuck it's all about. And to see this reaction was really quite like heartwarming. So Copenhagen Flames getting there, and another Danish name. Like Lucas, with some of those youngsters, are they names that have come through your league that you run, like Zyphon and Yabby and those guys? Are they names that are at the top of your list?
I mean, they played in it. Yes, even Copenhagen Flames was in the league for a few months ago.
But that's the thing, right? This is a team that is the grassroots that we were talking about. That every time I spoke to Roy about at the event, he was mentioning like the org and like how good they are and stuff like that. And it's crazy to see. Even with like, I don't know how many of the games you boys caught, but Roy's 27 and he was like the fragger, and I'm talking to him. And he's like, oh yeah, like I just played more DM. Like that's what he wants to be a fragger. So that one right there was probably a standout for me. Who else we got here?
The complexity thing is kind of interesting still, even though we kind of skipped on it. I mean, I did make that prediction saying that they would do worse with coldzera than with NATO Sapphics, which I won't boast with now, because who knows how they do with NATO Sapphics. Maybe they just go like 0-5.
Yeah.
But things didn't look great, and this whole like Striker did an interview with coldzera.
I wanted to talk about that.
He is now the entry fragger. What do you think about that one, Taco? It seems impossible to me.
Yeah, I know Code from being a totally different player from entry fragger. I was his entry fragger.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's crazy it's not crazy, but it's weird to see Code as an entry fragger. I think his role is really different from that, at least from what I understood. But it's for me it's kind of difficult to talk about complexity, because I didn't watch a single game of complexity in this tournament. And also I didn't see how Code did in the games. I think he played, at least from what I heard and from what I read, I think he did great, right?
He did okay, for sure. Yeah, he did well.
But it's not about it. It's not about performing well. It's about how the team would look adapting a player like Code in their system, right? So I'm not sure if they are with the right idea having Code as the entry fragger, but I'm not inside the team. I'm not their their analyst or something like that. So
right.
They need some big changes there, I reckon.
Chad, the thing is, like when I did that interview, when he gave me that answer that like the idea was for him to be the entry, I had to kind of like do a double take, just because like looking at their game, he's not an entry.
No.
I don't think you can you can't get away with calling yourself an entry with the positions that he has, because like most of the time, if you look at their team and how they play, it's Blame for S attack kind of creating the space, and then Poison's obviously the opera. He's just going to get into a lot of opening duels and stuff like that. But like Cold is like unlike JKS level opening stats, and like even if you look at the games, like it's always Blame F and S attack kind of like being the guys in front, maybe just trying to open up sites and stuff like that. So I don't know where this kind of categorization even came from. So that was like the confusing part to me. Like when I was doing that interview, Like I was so confused just because I was like, am I looking at complexity entirely wrong, or am I just crazy and they're not actually using Cold the way that he says they are? Maybe there's like that's like kind of like the plan, and he's still trying to adjust to it. Like sure, I can understand that because he's not really an anchor. Like that's fair enough. Like he's not really the player. He's also not in the positions that he would have been in previous teams. So I guess there is a change, but I don't think you can categorize it as an entry.
Yeah, I think this team is on a timer. I think end of the year, probably a couple of other roster changes. I think they probably need to rebuild. Now, I think it's probably a good place for like Peacemaker and Cold to start something new if they wanted to and pick whoever they want. I was talking to, we did a piece. I don't know if you guys saw it on the broadcast, but it was a piece about like the roster changes that never were. So we asked about, trying to unscrew the lid and get people to talk about some stuff like that was rumored that we never came to fruition from years ago, right? Like the Flamey and the Simple one to the Brazilian roster was one of those. But another one was asking Cold and Peacemaker about this team, and he mentioned that at one point when they were thinking about building a team, that JKS was on the list of players that they would like to play with, which I thought was interesting, right? And the way that I see this going at the end of the year with the Astralis potential split, right? Who the fuck knows what's going on there? You've obviously got Blame F and ESSAA, two other names who might be up for conversation on Danish top teams. Complexity, especially not making the major now, like they have so much room to work and do whatever they want. I hope that they spend the time and decide what direction they want the project to go instead of treading water and trying to plug gaps. Because at this point, rip the Band-Aid off. Like it's fucked. Like ever since Obo left, it's been fucked. And that's not any fault of their own. Like Poison having issues, Config getting an injury. These are all things that have just happened, right? And this shit builds up. So it's at some point, you have to consider what's the best option. I think keeping key pieces, letting people who want to go, and building something new is probably the way for them. But that's probably a couple of months.
I mean,
off.
the problem is like if you want to do a combination with Astralis way, like obviously that's the obvious route just because of the Dupree and ESSAA connection and like them probably wanting to, not even probably, they just said that they would like to play together at some point, right? So like that's an angle, right?
That reminds me of coldzera and Nico.
Rough.
Probably not as volatile.
Yeah, exactly. But like when you do that, that basically becomes a Danish team, right? And that's, I mean, obviously they already were like with Config kind of coming into not Config, but ESSAA coming into this team. Well, they would have had 3 players.
Them, so.
What? Sorry.
Config is joining them.
You mean Astralis?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that they already had like a 3-man core. They just never really got to play together because of this stuff happening around Config. But that's obviously going to create some issues. Like I am one of those people who aren't really happy about like having a team with 3 players with the same nationality having to speak English if it's not their first language. So it will inevitably create some issues, right? Like it's very hard to get over that. I would imagine. So like that's something that I wouldn't want to see. So it's almost like, do you want them to just go full Danish and just like pick up like a Valde from OG and just go somewhere like that route, right?
Lots of talent, lots of people to pick from.
So there's obviously a way for them to just become fully Danish. Does Complexity want that? That's also like another question. Peacemaker could even stay. He's had experience
with
playing with Danish, fully Danish rosters. So like that, there's a lot of ways for Complexity to go, and all they have to do is wait for the major and see how things go. And I think that's kind of what they're thinking is at the moment. coldzera even said like in that interview that when I asked him about the future with Complexity, that like he wants to give them a real shot, but he also has like other opportunities, other offers that people have come to him with, and he's waiting to see what happens at the major. And after it, what kind of roster changes we're going to see from various teams. So like there's the future is clearly very open with Complexity, and that makes perfect sense.
Sure. All right, a couple another big ones here. Obviously, Mouse Sports, Prof, and FaZe making it through by, I want to say, no doing of their own, but they had to win a couple of games or lose a couple of games, but they made it.
FaZe did something. I'd say Mouse Sports not really.
Well, FaZe had to win both those matches, right? They had to, and they did that, and they stepped up to the plate, and we saw some really good stuff out of Rain, some vintage Rain. Twist looking really good. I think it was good to see, and I'm glad that FaZe made it to the major, because I think not having FaZe at the majors, like, I wouldn't put them in the same boat as OG. Not having OG, okay, they're still marinating. FaZe, these guys are ready. I want to eat. Like you know what I mean? So it's good to see them get through. Mouse Sports, I don't know how they made it through. I guess that was by them having so many points previously, right? That just by the skin of their teeth in that one. So those guys there, I'm not sure if they're surprises, but they're definitely names to be nice on the list. Yeah, I don't know where to go with this, boys. I'm kind of like, we have so much to dive into. It's just like it's hard to pick a direction.
One team I'd like to just kind of give a shout out to is Big. I think I don't know what it is about them, but I always felt like majors are kind of like where they thrive, and kind of that like whenever there's something really big on the line, like Big is where Big kind of steps up. So I'm kind of glad that they made it almost even over somebody like OG, just because of OG being this this kind of volatile team. So that's like another name that that even though people might not see as like a big favorite or anything like that, or a team that should be going really far, I think they've always done something solid at majors. I know that I'm talking in front of Taco here, who's been kind of like at the receiving end of a big run over in the last PGL Major. But that's kind of like how I see Big, and kind of like a good major team, I would call them.
Sure. Okay.
What do you think, Taco, from the teams that we have here? Is there anything that like a team that is exciting to see them at the major perform?
Man, I was really hoping for FaZe because I think they have a good team, and it seems like they're working really hard too. So I was really hoping for FaZe to qualify, and it's nice they did. Other teams that I think the CIS teams, they are in a great moment for them. I think they're gonna be difficult for everyone in the major. I think the CIS teams will be there to on the heads, and I see Navi as the favorites, which is also crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Let's see if they can finally win this major. I'm also supporting Navi in this one, and
you're playing there, Taco. Surely you want to beat him.
Yes. Yeah. And then the third one is GODSENT.
Of course.
The favorite, the big favorite of the major, the team that will probably win against Navi.
Right.
How do you think your boys are going to go on LAN?
Oh yeah, that's something. We have a really good thing in our team, that we are really open to talk about everything, and we are really open to talk about chokes and when we feel nervous or when, and of course being at LAN is a topic that we discussed already. I think that we would be, from my experience and knowing the players that I have next to me, I think we're gonna be good. I think it's gonna be fine. We still have this lack of experience in our team, and you can feel it. I could feel it, especially in the last weeks where we played a lot of grand finals and big matches. Maybe for you guys it's not big matches, but for them, for us, for our team, DreamHack Open Grand Finals is a big moment. Is something to be nervous about, and is something to be anxious about. And in these moments, even though I felt that we had this lack of experience, I also felt that it's just lack of experience, Like as soon as we get it, as soon as we get used to big moments and to clutch moments, to big stages and playing against great teams and playing grand finals, semifinals, whatever. As soon as we get this experience, I think we're gonna be totally fine, like on LAN. I don't think we're gonna be a problem. I don't think it's gonna be a problem for us and for the young players. Maybe the first ones.
Sure.
But what's the realistic goal here? Obviously, you guys aren't like, you were making fun of being the favorites and stuff like that. You guys aren't exactly in the conversation to make it to the playoffs. But like, what's the realistic goal for you guys? What would you be happy with?
To be really honest, I believe in my team, and I think we are playing a CS that is not random. Like I told you guys at the beginning of this conversation, it's not we are not playing random CS. We are not playing. We are not just running on the map and killing everybody because we have super skilled players. No, it's not like that. We have a system. We believe in our system. We have a way of playing CS, and we always stick with this way. And if I believe if we play like the way we played against Liquid, for example, this RMR, I think we have chances to surprise, maybe get to the top 8, or I don't know. Anything can happen in my mind, to be really honest. Of course, winning the whole thing could be maybe delusional, but
a good word.
Yeah, but I have to believe and I have to fight for it. I mean, I know it's difficult. I know it's I mean it's delusional. It's crazy, blah blah. But I have to believe and I have to at least try and do my best to win the tournament. And but I think the goal that would make me satisfied and happy about would be top 8. Being top 8 would be already, my God, that's a dream for me. That's really nice. But of course, I'm gonna be playing to win, and I'm gonna do my best to win the whole thing, of course.
I wanted to ask a quick one here, right? Because you talk about the players that you learnt from in the past, right? In terms of in-game leadership, obviously, Fallen first name at the top of that list, and then all the experiences you've had with Liquid and whatnot. But in terms of today, right? Because I assume when you're picking up being an in-game leader, you have an idea of how you like to approach the game. Did you just stick with that, or did you go and like look at whoever the top teams were at the time and try and model this new team around that, so it was completely different to anything you'd done in the past?
I tried to build the team around the way I knew CS,
Okay.
the way I learned CS, and also from the other experiences I had in the game. So it was a mix of everything, I would say. Uh, like for example, playing for Liquid that didn't have a dedicated sniper
Mm.
helped me in this team because we also don't have a main AWPer. What do we do? You know, so Fallen's way of thinking about CS, for example. I came from this school, you know. That's how I learned CS. That's the way I learned how to play CS, and that's the CS I like to play too. That's why when I talk to FNX or Fallen or Code or Fur, these guys, when we talk about CS, we talk the same language because that's the CS we learn to play, and that's the CS we talk about, you know. And this is not the CS we play because it's outdated. Of course, it's we are talking about 2016 or 2017, but that's the CS I learned.
Mm.
And after years and months, you of course you improve, you get experience, you upgrade what you think. And that's the way we are playing CS right now. And that this way I consider not random, because when I say random, it's because nowadays we have a lot of teams doing a lot of random stuff on the game, and uh, in the end, the best team will always win the tournament and get a trophy. But uh, in the middle of the tournament, a lot of stuff can happen nowadays in CS, especially because teams are playing a lot of with a lot of random, you know, a lot of taking a lot of risks and taking duels and fighting for space. And there is this fight for space now in CS, so crazy, everyone pushing every every spot, and it's kind of crazy. But that's not the CS we play, you know. We like to play aggressive CS, we like to play organized CS, we like to play right CS, you know, right CS, what we consider right CS. So I'm getting to that point that SPUNJ got to, where you are talking and you don't even remember
You
what
don't
you're
know where you're
talking about.
going.
Yes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. When I say random, is not because sometimes when I say things, when I talk about things, I don't know the right way to say what I want to say, you
Mm.
know. So right or wrong or bad or perfect or whatever is not, you know, when I say right CS, it's not right CS, perfect CS. It's just the way I think CS should be played, at least in my team, you know.
Sure. Okay, let's do this, boys. Let's transition into talking about blast stuff, because what I want to do is I want to get to the playtime. I want to smash that out of the park as well. Now, as we move into this blast showdown discussion, Prof, fuck. I'm going to need your assistance here. It's Friday, right? 6:30.
Yes.
Okay, so on Friday at 6:30, we're going to be live on this channel with the three of us and Lucas, and we're going to be streaming. What match is it?
OG Complexity.
We're going to be streaming OG Complexity.
Two very interesting teams.
Yes, that we've just been talking about. Blast of we're doing a co-streaming thing, I guess, is what we're doing, right?
Yes.
So we're going to be live. We're going to cover the match. The three of us are going to be here. I want to open this up to maybe any players who are watching right now. If you guys are not practicing, and any of you want to come by and sit here and shoot the shit and talk Counter-Strike as we watch those games together, hit any of us up. right? DM us, whatever.
Yes.
We'll work it out. You can come by. It's just going to be probably TeamSpeak,
Nice.
and we can join in and have a bit of a chat. But we're going to probably cover off some more about the major stuff then anyway, because we're going to be just having a chat. So that's just for everybody. Friday, 6:30, maybe even a little bit before. That's just one to keep our eyes and ears on. But yeah, let's get back underway with this. We're going to be talking about the Blast Showdown bracket now. Lucas, I want to throw this one your way. Today, Payne got eliminated by OG. That was one of the matches I saw. Obviously, Lynn Vision, the Chinese representation, were in play as well. Now, maybe we can start there. Does anybody here know much about Lynn Vision? Because no, but seriously, because I try to keep a little bit of tabs on the Chinese Counter-Strike, right? X-Pro, for example, with the coach they have, Vadim, I think it is.
Yeah,
they were playing together a while ago, and I'm actually quite curious, and I need your their help. Is do you think Far East or even Southeast Russian Counter-Strike is going to have more of an impact? Like it's like a trickle-down effect now, because Russia's at the top with CIS. Now we can trickle that down, because I played with some guys in Face It Pugs, no joke, who are playing on 110 ping from that part of Russia, and they're fucking sick. Like they understand Counter-Strike. I reckon that's trickling down into China. No Gia, like because they have those mixed teams, right?
Yeah, because they have no other option, because they can't really play with like the normal Russian teams, because they literally like on the FUT. Like Russia is so big, like there's no way you can play like from Moscow to the other side of Russia.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. So like of course they're gonna have to play in Asia. Like that's also, it's almost just as a fun fact, it's almost kind of been a problem with like some of these tournaments that basically have like nationality restrictions.
Yeah, there's been
like some of these Russians who are from that far eastern part of Russia, like they can't play in those normal Russian tournaments, but they can't also play in the Asian ones, because those are sometimes country restricted. So like that's actually been somewhat of a problem, and like it's not the only way for them to actually get into these tournaments. So like of course that's something that should be solved. So of course, yeah, there's nothing else for them to play, so why not?
Pretty crazy though that like that is the way that it's going, and I think it's going to have a real positive effect on the region if that is the case. But anyway, so I've linked the bracket to Lucas. There's already been a bunch of matches played. Heroic beat Poggers, Dignitas over Fiend. They had quite the comeback on Nuke, I believe it was.
Yep.
We also had Complexity over MIBR today. Taco, the new boys in MIBR. Do you have any info on those guys? The roster now: Bolts, Wood 7, Exit, Turtle, and I don't know how to say this guy's name. BRN.
It should be Cello, by the way, but he's not with the team right now.
Okay. Well, BRNZ4N.
Yeah, how do you pronounce that name? We can start with
that. It's for us. It's BRN.
Oh my god, there's no way.
It's Fanny. Okay.
BRN.
Okay. I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try.
Well, we're fucked. We can't.
BRN. But you can call him Bruno.
Bruno. Okay, that I can do. That's easy enough.
It's a short for BRN is a short for Bruno. The name Bruno, probably. So yeah, Bruno is easier. But I don't. The only one that I practiced against Wood and Turtle, because when I was in Brazil, that's the only
they're in Bravo.
Yeah, of course I know Bolts. So I don't think we have to talk about him.
Yep.
But the other players. Turtle, I know that he was playing for Daytona. He played the ESL Pro League in Odense. He has some kind of experience already. The other guys, I think they are super young. Like I never heard about them, to be really honest. Like I never really heard about them.
It's probably a good move that this team rebuilt, though, right? Because the other MIBR team with like Yell and SHZ and all those guys, like they had been in North America for a long time, mate. Even like when just after you guys first went there, right? Those boys came up.
Yeah, they were on the road for a long time, man. People always thought that they were not young, but a new team or something like that. But they were on the road for a really long time.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame it didn't work out there, right? So just looking at this bracket, Taco, let's get your professional opinion here, because I'm sure there's a lot of these names that you've played against with your time in Europe, right? Who do you think is going to top each side of these brackets? So the top side, obviously, we still have left Heroic, Dignitas, Complexity, OG. The bottom side, there's a few more names, but VP, Liquid, and G2 are probably the standouts, right? I don't think there's maybe the Movistar Riders is another name that might come into the mix for topping. But which teams do you think are going to go all the way? I can link you the bracket if you.
Yeah, I was trying to
I'll
find
send it to you here. There we go. I just sent it to you on TeamSpeak. But yeah, seeing how these are laying out here, there's one side of the bracket, Taco, looks a bit scarier than the other side of the bracket to me.
Which
True
one?
that.
Which one?
True that.
The top
The
one.
bottom side.
There we go.
No.
No,
Okay.
definitely the bottom side. Liquid,
No, no.
G2, and VP.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking shit. I don't even know what time it is, boys. I look, it's all falling apart here. But who you got, Taco? Who's going to be topping each side of these brackets? Because 2 teams go through to the arena.
Well, Dignitas, don't sleep on Dignitas.
Okay.
Even though people
Sleep on Dignitas.
sleep on Dignitas. Don't sleep on Dignitas. I think they are playing good chess. I think they have a good chance. Heroic are the favorites, of course. I think that is no discussion about it. And then we have Complexity and OG. This game will be a difficult one.
It'll be fun.
Will be fun. I think for the moment, it's so hard to predict. Sorry, guys. It's so hard to predict
that's fair
this one.
enough.
You have a really difficult job. I'm just realizing now. It's crazy. Yeah. I if I had to bet, I would say that in the bottom side, we will see Liquid and G2.
Okay, that's nice.
Maybe if Liquid is not doing really well, is not playing great, blah blah blah, then Virtus VP. Then I
Okay.
believe in VP.
Okay.
I think VP is a team that, man, they play really nice chess. I really like to watch VP demos, and I really like to watch VP matches, and it's so nice to watch them play. But it's so weird that sometimes they are playing like gods, and all of a suddenly they are not playing like gods anymore. You know, it's crazy. I don't know. I really like VP. I really enjoy watching VP. I always think they're gonna do great in tournaments, but I see myself kind of disappointed.
How does
few times.
VP and then Jackinho, how does that mesh with your view on the game and consistency and like not doing random moves? How do you?
Well,
is there a correlation there? Does it mix, or are they doing like something completely different?
Well, they have their system. They have the system they believe and they play. Jackinho is a very aggressive player, and he creates a space for his team. I think that I don't think it's dumb to play the way he plays. I actually think it's. I mean, if they need someone to do that, he's being this guy, and he's doing great in what he needs to do. But I don't think VP they play around it. You know, they play around Jackinho's informations or Jackinho's skills. They have other stuff to think about and to they have also great players around them. They have James, they have assistant, they have other stuff to do that is not only Jackinho going first and doing something crazy. You know, I think it's I wouldn't say VP is a team that play random CS. I think even though they take a lot of gambles in the city sides, even though they have Jackinho super aggressive player, I wouldn't say VP is a team that play random CS. And also, I'm not some kind of god. I am GODSENT, but I'm not some kind of god to say who is playing right, or like I'm telling you guys. I hope it's not the impression I'm leaving.
It's just sometimes that it feels like the VP just
They
send
play
out
slow.
They just send out Jackinho and just like see how it goes, and then okay, we're just gonna play a 4v3 situation now because Jackinho just got us 2 kills. Like that's basically how VP play. Like they're just leaving Jackinho to do his thing and then reacting based on when he dies and how many people he takes with him. And that's how they play out the rest of the situation.
If we look in the past, we had for example, in SK we had Fur. Fur would be this guy, right? But
not as
we
crazy,
never.
but yeah.
Yeah, not as crazy. But we never played around Fur. You know, we played with Fur. We know that he's a super aggressive player, and we're not gonna play for him, but we're gonna help him to make what he's doing very effective. You know, so if you when I talk about like random, for example, if you look at Fur, you think that what he was doing in the past was random. He was just doing crazy stuff and pushing everywhere. But it's not like that. Fur is someone really smart. like in the game. He knows, and also Phelps. I have one of these guys in my team too. Phelps is one of these players. He's super aggressive, but we don't play around Phelps. We don't play for Phelps. We just have a player that has the style and we adapt. We adapt the calls. I personally I let Phelps do whatever he wants because I know how he wants to play and I know the way he likes to play. And if you have a player like that and you hold this player, if like you put
You
like
have a leash on him.
Put a
Yeah.
leash on,
a
yeah.
leash, yeah, then it's a problem. Then they gonna be unhappy. I heard a lot of times, for example, you guys don't want me to play the way I like. You guys don't want me to keep pushing and killing people. Okay, I'm just gonna hold city spawn now. I'm gonna be city spawn.
Just
This kind of
stubborn.
stuff.
Because
Yeah.
there's nothing else that you can do. You can either push to T-spawn or stay
Yeah.
at T-spawn. There's
Yeah.
nothing in between.
Gotta find the middle ground.
Fair
do you-
in-game leader. We had one thing in SK too, like we used when Fallen was out of ideas, for example, he would say, okay, this map, Taco, you are the in-game leader, Fur, you are the in-game leader. So we could give him ideas and we could share ideas. And then when Fur was the in-game leader, it was only push B. Okay, guys, let's throw all the nades A and push A. That's the calls.
Just go B.
Oh dear.
I wonder now that you're talking about Phelps, obviously there was like the whole when Phelps and Fair were on the same team together, obviously there was kind of a clash in that way just
The
because of
Inferno
how
B
you were.
hold.
Yeah, for example,
Ah.
that was funny actually.
That was
That's
hard
actually
to
a
watch.
funny throwback. It was difficult for sure, but I just remember that one round that threw you one game. I don't remember which one. Where just Fair and Phelps.
Virtus Pro? Was it Virtus
I
Pro?
don't remember which.
G2.
But you just they just pushed
Banana.
like banana all the way down to middle and
Was
just
against
both
G2.
died. Both died there, and it cost you the game essentially. I just remember that one moment. But in general, right, like as you were talking about it, I just realized how close they were to one another. Do you feel like Phelps wasn't perhaps the right addition at that time, like just because of the roles clashing and just not, being able to give him the space that he needed to actually shine?
Yeah, I always thought that. I always thought that having two players with the same style in the team was not good. But then when Phelps joined the first time SK, we won a lot of tournaments with him, So I was wrong. It's actually possible to win something with two players with the same role in a team. But what we did with Phelps is back in the SK days, when he joined our team, we played one or two tournaments, and one of the tournaments was the DreamHack Vegas grand finals against VP.
Yeah.
That we lost that grand finals to VP, and after that tournament was actually good losing that tournament because we came back home and we talked about the tournament and we realized that Fur and Phelps playing like unleashed with the freedom they wanted to play wouldn't work because me, Code, and Fallen, we like to play organized CS. We like to play holding and waiting, and that's the way we like to play back in the days. But when Phelps and Fur joined the team, they gave us a different rhythm. They were playing in a different pace. And after this tournament, I'm saying that it was kind of good to not win this tournament because we came back and then we talked to Phelps and we said, Phelps, you are really great at what you do. You are a really great player. The style you play CS is really nice, but we need you to be the player the team needs and not the player you want to be. And of course, this style could be for Fur or Phelps, but at the time was for Phelps because he was the youngest ones, and Fur was in the team for a long time, and he was one of the best doing what he did. And so I don't. And then after this tournament, we started to winning again. We had 2 or 3 tournaments that we did bad, but then we were winning again after this talk, and that's why I think it was important to have this kind of discussion and having Phelps not replacing, but having Phelps back in MyBR when we rebuilt the team. I think that it was a mistake. Yes, I don't think it was good, and not because of Phelps, but because of this clash of roles, And I think it was very bad for him because Phelps at least I know him since 2015, 14 in Brazil when we played CS in Brazil, and the guy was just a nightmare to everyone. Like he was so annoying to play against. Everyone would say he was cheating. He was so annoying. Phelps was so annoying to play against, and I never had the chance to play with him playing the same role he played in Brazil back in the days. I only played with him in MIBR playing, a different role, and in SK playing a different role too. So I never got to play with Phelps in his real role, doing the best thing he knows to do, and that's the first time in GODSENT, and that's something I told him to, like when I joined the team. Phelps, I'm someone that really believe about roles. I think the work should have roles and should be organized, and I have my ideas about it, but I told him, Phelps, I never had the chance to play with you like in your role, and I think you are really great because the only memories I have about you are destroying everyone in this role. Like literally, I'm not saying that because he's in my team.
Yeah.
Especially because I have some problems with Phelps in the past in 2014 or 15. We had some problems like playing in teams together. Of course, it's in the past. But what I told him in GODSENT is, Phelps, you play this, you're gonna play your real role. Like you have all the freedom to do whatever you want in your role because I really believe you are really great at what you do. And when I compare players like Jackinho, Phelps, Elige, Fur, all these super aggressive players, I don't think Phelps is worse than any of these players. I actually think he's better or the same level of these great players. That's of course that's my opinion. So Phelps and his role in MIBR, in my opinion, of course, was wrong. Was not a good fit, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally attest to what you were saying about him before MIBR. Basically, like when I remember him like playing Immortals and playing like some train games where he was just like constantly pushed up in electric and just like playing around those smokes that usually would go down and stuff, like he was a god at that. Like he was amazing at it at the time. So like that was always something that kind of like bugged my mind and never really got answered properly, right? So that's kind of an interesting throwback.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to round out this with one important question here because we're going to jump into the playtime and do this next little fun game we have for you, Taco. And then if we have any viewer questions, we'll do those and then we'll be done. But Prof,
yes,
I got an important question for you. The big match.
Okay.
It's a really big match, mate. Evil Geniuses versus Mad Lions.
Mad Lions. Yeah,
Who's
I mean,
gonna win? Who's gonna win?
The match was so hyped.
It's
so
really hyped.
that they delayed it. They wanted to like increase the hype. They wanted to increase the hype levels at least like 3 times. It's like when you don't jerk off for a month or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
People,
I know what you're saying.
When it happened, it's amazing. That's
Anticipation for the match.
Yeah, so that's what they're trying to do with this.
Guys, I really think EG they have a good lineup. They have good players in the
They're
lineup.
just not playing very good at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like when we were about to play them, I went to their demos to study and etc. I saw their players and they have good players, great players like Breeze, Cirque. They are great players, these guys. Mishu, I don't know, like being honest now, it's of course they are not playing well, etc. But they could have the potential to be a good team, maybe. EG.
Yeah, we don't know what's taken them. Like, obviously, they had the issues with Stan sitting out because he took an extended break. Breeze then took some time off. It's like to see them peaking, it's probably going to be like another 6 months if they were ever going to peak, right? And we've had a couple of other issues with the team where, like, Mihu would have a really good event, and then Prof would pick him in his fantasy team, and then Mihu wouldn't have a very good event, right? So it's just the inconsistency right now that I think
pinning this on me now. Okay,
look, who picked Mihu in the fantasy team? I just want to make. I've raised your hand.
Point figures.
So, I'm just saying, all right. But this is the thing, like EG, for the stature of the organization, the issue right now is the performance of the team, and it hasn't been good. Really, it hasn't been good since early 20. No, actually, they did have a bit of resurgence last year. Let's say it hasn't been good since late 2020, right? That's probably fair. And that's the thing is we would like this team to do good, like we want Liquid to do good because it's a big org. It means a lot for the region. It's just not doing very good right now. So, Prof, I need your official prediction. Who's going to win, Mad Lions or EG? Official prediction.
Official prediction, e.g. Miku top fragging.
That's not official. All right.
Official prediction.
It's going to be the prof curse. Okay. So those of you listen to this, if he's right and EG win, it's going to be the prof blessing. If they lose, it's the prof curse. And we're going to be running with whichever one of those happens on his predictions from this day forward. You okay with that, prof?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
seems
cool.
seems
With great power comes great responsibility.
Really confident.
I have no problems with that. It's obvious what's going to happen.
So, Prof, can you give everybody at home one last time the co-stream details? Because you're the master plan.
Friday, 6:30 CEST. So I don't know what that is in your time zone. You can recalculate. If you didn't know, you can just like type in Google like 18:30 CST in Brazil. Like you don't even have to like put in the actual names of the time zones, and Google is going to find out and just give you just the result, which is amazing. Or you can just find the game on HLTV. It's Complexity OG, and we'll be co-streaming that. So the three of us and maybe some other people, and we'll be probably talking a lot of bullshit in between games and on eco rounds, and they will be frustrated because people are saving or like someone doesn't buy one flash. Or
that's my job. What are you talking about, mate? Don't make it sound so
but
difficult.
we'll be even more annoying than on a normal cast, because during a normal cast you have to be like, oh, professional, official, and like have a good time for everyone that's tuning in. Here we'll just like find the smallest thing that happens in a round and just talk about it for like 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a plan. All right, guys. Friday, get into that. Lucas, do we need to play the bumper, or can we just get into playtime? We need to play it. Let's play the playtime bumper. We'll be right back. 2 seconds. Just, guys. And we're back. All right, we're going to get into the Paramatch Matchmaker. I was just explaining it to Taco. Let me continue to do so live on air. So basically what we do with the Paramatch Matchmaker game, Taco, is there's going to be a link given to you. And on that link, there'll be two lists. I'm assuming Prof has built the list today with Brazilian Counter-Strike players. Would it happen to be, Prof?
How did you guess this?
Yeah. So on one side, Taco, you're going to have Brazilian Counter-Strike players. On the other, you're going to have descriptive terms. So what we want you to do is we want you to pair them up, and we want you to talk through your logic of why you've picked that name and that description. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It should be easy. So we got a link that we can look at and we can see for the viewers at home. And you have a link where you have the little boxes. So at the top of the list, I'll read this for our audio-only listeners. We have FNX, Fallen, coldzera, Fur, and Zeus. And in the descriptive terms, we have want to defeat, underrated, has more to give, taught me the most, and hard to work with. So yeah, whenever you're ready, Taco, start us off wherever you want. That's true. So if one person fits multiple terms, you can select multiple. If one term you don't want to use, you don't have to use it. Deep contemplation here.
Taco is not enjoying this. Here we go. We got one selected. Also, talk us through your thinking, if you can.
Taught you the most. That one seems pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
So do you think, like, in terms, like, taught you the most because of the in-game leading aspect, or taught you the most as like a human in life as well? Like, just Counter-Strike related, everything related? Is Fallen really just a nice guy that everyone makes him out to be?
He was my mirror. He was my example that I followed when I started playing CS. So he was the one that I looked up to, you know, like when I was younger. And when I came to his team, to Fallen's team, he taught me a lot too, like CS, and a lot of reviews, a lot of trash talk. Like, Taco, why are you doing this? Man, this is not. Are you a pro? What are you doing? You know, stuff like that. In the beginning, that I thought that I still think was really important to my development as a player. You know, of course, in a good way, because when he was mad at me because I did something bad in game, was always in a good way. So yeah, definitely the one that taught me the most in game and outside the game as well. I would say in terms of being a good professional and all this stuff.
Okay, nice. All right. Who else we got here? What about hit us with coldzera? That feels like an easy one.
I didn't put biggest baiter as one of the
Oh my god.
one of the options, so I made it difficult here.
Code.
Would you want to beat him?
Let's
hard to
say
work with. Oh
no, but I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
It's hard to work with code if you are not as hungry as him for the game.
Okay, that's a good framing.
If I used to tell that in Portuguese, but when Code was the best in the planet, when he was, chosen the best, when our practice was over, the old guys like Fallen, Fur, FNX, and the old guys, they would just chill a little bit and watch some stuff. And me and Code, we were the young ones. We would just stay in the computer and play more CS. And one of the time, Code was playing deathmatch, and I was playing the same deathmatch, and I was there. And man, I was not feeling my hands anymore. My eyes were burning. I was really, my back was, after 6 maps of practice, playing 2 hours of deathmatch, and I was playing, and I was like, man, this guy, he's not gonna leave the deathmatch. I'm just leaving when he leaves the deathmatch, because if he's the best player in the world, I have to play more than him. So if I play less, I'm gonna, I'm gonna be shit. I have to. If he's the best, I have to play more than him. And then I was playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and playing, and the guy was just there, like he was normal. He didn't know this competition it was going on.
Yeah.
It was just me and my mind. And then he quit the deathmatch and, hey Chaco, I'm going to the hotel. Are you going? And I said, I looked at him. I was feeling destroyed. All I want was going to the hotel. And I told him, no, I'm playing more. just for the,
Did you keep
just to-
playing?
Yes.
Oh my god, mate.
But when he left the
Dedication.
place, I instantly stopped playing. But I'm saying that because he's super dedicated. Like, at least he was. And he hates when someone is not super dedicated, super, super, I mean,
Motivated.
Invested, yeah.
Yeah.
yes. And he
Obsessed.
hates that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's when you're gonna have problems with him, That's when he becomes someone hard to work with. But it's not a negative thing, I always thought it was good, because at least he he was pushing me in a way to work more. And I think it's nice, And I also saw like players like that came to our team that didn't really like to work a lot, or were playing all the games after practice, or were doing whatever after practice, or we're not really focused on CS as Code is normally. He would freak out and he would be really mad. So
if anything, seems like a good fit for BlameF. Like those
Motivate
two
each other.
teams seem to be on the same track. I don't know. As you said, this was coldzera years ago almost, and I know the same stories from those days when he was winning the MVPs as simple as nowadays, just like every event, every other. So I don't know
yeah,
if
I
it's
don't
still
know
like
now.
that.
Yeah.
But maybe with someone like BlameF, maybe that fire is reignited again, and then
Yeah, I mean, the last time I played with Code was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. So I don't know how is he doing now.
Based on that
But
story, man, like I would be worried for their teammates in complexity, because Blamef and if Blamef and coldzera are exactly the same person in that dedication, like it's got to be really fucking hard to keep up with both of them at the same time. Like it already has to be hard to deal with Blamef sometimes, because of like he's just insatiable, right? Like that's just incredibly unique. Like you can't have that sort of dedication for everybody. Like almost nobody can keep that up. Like you can be the best, like one of the best players in the world, and you're still not going to be anywhere near that dedication. That's kind of crazy to think about, that two players could end up on the same team that are like that.
yeah, I saw players, for example, like Neff. Neff is not someone really obsessed, like for CS. Yes, man, you have to prove CS. But he's one of the smartest players I've ever played with. Like he has some kind of gift. I don't know. He's super smart. And in my opinion, he's not someone like obsessed. Oh my God, I need to, like I need to do that and that and that. He's just there working, doing his job and warming up and watching what he needs to watch, and he's just there. He's not as obsessed as these players, for example, and still he's a great player. So I think it's just a matter of, like I don't think PlayMath will be the best ever because he's obsessed with CS.
Right.
And I also don't think Nefly will be shit because he's not obsessed with CS. I think it's just a matter of you being you, and that's it.
Nice. Okay. Well, maybe the next one could sync nicely into that. What about Fur? I know that he necessarily maybe wasn't the Prac King, was he? He enjoyed just playing the scrims. I've heard that statement a couple times.
Fur has more to give.
Okay, that's a good way to take this. All right. Where do you think we're going to see Fur? Is he going to be, you think he'll go a Brazilian team? What do you think the route for Fur is?
I think maybe in the future he's joining a Brazilian team. I think so.
Okay.
But Fur is he's really good at CS, like really good. And when I say he has more to give, is that if the real Fur comes back, like if he really wants to be the best, and if he really wants to be a great player, he's definitely going to be it. He's definitely going to be a good player and going to be in a good team. But it's on him now. Let's see what Fur brings to us. Maybe next year if he joins a Brazilian team, maybe an international team. I know he wants to play, and he has more to give, and I hope he can come back playing.
No, maybe it's what you were saying, how like having these younger guys around you had that fire again, right? So maybe Fur's needing the same thing, just to be reminded what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, who else we got left? Zeus and FNX.
Okay. FNX. Let's go for FNX.
Everyone's favorite. He's been on reality TV shows in Brazil recently, hasn't he?
Man, the guy is a pop star.
What that reality TV show he's on, right? Is that like, I'm going to try and pick an English show that some people might know, like a Love Island or something like that, like where he goes with a bunch of single dudes, a bunch of single ladies, there's a bit of mingling going on, a couple of drinks are had. Like what type of show was he on?
That's exactly the show he's
Oh,
on.
yeah?
Of course it is, man. Like it has to be.
He loves getting his shirt off. You can understand it.
Does he come there and then say like, I was a professional video game player?
Sure.
And then that's his thing?
That's his
pickup line, huh?
Yeah.
So good.
He's like, yeah, man, 2 majors, 6 South American tournaments, 10 Brazilian leagues,
Did it work though?
And now I'm the reality show whatever winner. It's on
Did he
his
win it?
award list. No, he didn't. He
Oh
didn't.
fuck! I was gonna say, Jesus.
But he was, yeah. If he was, then the guy would be legendary. I mean, he's already legendary, but I don't know.
Yeah.
FNX is just FNX.
He's interesting to watch from like this side of the world, like seeing all the stuff he does with like NTC and everything like that, and and like you see him out, and he looks like he's having fun. Let's put it that way. He looks like he's having a good time. Okay. So,
Yes.
Where does he belong then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got? One to defeat or underrated?
Oh, FNX.
Yeah. Or maybe one of the other options.
Man. Okay. I will say for FNX, he is hard to work with.
Okay.
He didn't taught me the most probably, but he taught me a lot.
Okay. He's got a lot
Can
of
I give?
experience. Yeah.
Can I? And before Fallen, I was playing Games Academy with FNX.
Yes.
And I also remember one clutch that I was playing, and he taught me. He gave me one tip, and then I used this tip since then.
Can you tell us what the tip?
I'm not gonna tell you guys. No, I will.
All right.
He said I was playing a 1 versus 1, and I knew where the guy was. This is a very basic tip. I knew where the guy was, and then I was running to kill the guy. You know, I was just going like crazy to kill the guy, and then I lost the clutch, and then he stopped and he said, "Taco, man, you know where he is. Just wait. He's noob. He's gonna pick. Noobs always pick. They always pick. He's gonna pick. Just wait." And then the other day I was playing a clutch and I knew where the guy was and I just waited. I was just waiting. I didn't run. I was just waiting with my crosshair. Just waiting. I waited like 10 seconds. The bomb was ticking and I was there waiting, just waiting. And the guy he he picked and I killed him. And after that I was like, yeah man, this guy knows.
That's a cool story.
This guy knows. And I mean, this is very basic and very little, right? But he taught me a lot of stuff, like in the more deep stuff, like in the game. So I will give FNX just taught me the most too.
Okay.
Not only for Fallen, but FNX too.
Okay, nice. And then Zeus, the coach, to round out the mob. Where does
Oh
Zeus
man,
land?
I'm gonna have to put taught me the most again. And has more to give. And that's it. Has more to give because I think Zeus is a great coach. He's a great person as well, and I think sometimes being a great coach is not only enough. Being a great coach is you need to be a good person too, because you need to understand how to manage people and players. So Zeus, he's really good at it. He's not only good at the game, he has good ideas. He's a good coach. He brings stuff for the team, but he knows how to manage people and how to manage players and egos and all this stuff. He's really good at it. So I think he has more to give, and he taught me a lot too. And another story that I have about Zeus is also in Games Academy. When I joined LG, they were not satisfied with Bolt's at the time. They were feeling bad about Bolt's performances. And I played a tournament in RGN, and where we played against Kingwin, a Polish team, Polish lineup of Kingwin. And the map was cobblestone, and Zeus, he created a smoke on the B plat, a one-way smoke, and I was the B player, the B holder on the T side, and LG, all the guys like Fallen, Fur, Cole, they were watching the tournament, and with this smoke, I destroyed Kingwin. I got a lot of kills, and I had a really great match. And after the game, LG came to talk to me and to say, hey, we watched you. You're playing really, really nice. Congratulations. We really need someone really aggressive as you. We really need a entry fragger in our team doing the holding the spots you hold. We really need someone like you. So in the end, it was all because of Zeus' smoke that he taught me. So there is a joke between me and him. He always tells me, "Hey, Taco, if it was not for my smoke, you wouldn't be here," something like that. So he taught me a lot. Also, Zeus, when he was a professional player, he used to be a B anchor. So I'm a B anchor too. And when he was my coach, we used to talk and share stuff and discuss the B bomb sites and he used to teach me a lot of approaches and nades and plays and stuff that he thought it could be good for my game. So Zeus taught me a lot, and not only in game, outside the game too. He's a good professional. So I think he's one of the person that taught me the most.
Okay, nice. Couple of good mentors there for you, mate. All right, well, that wraps up the Paramatch Matchmaker game. Now we're just going to get into some viewer questions, and then I think we're done. Now, Prof, I look to you. How was the mailbag?
There's like actually a shit ton of questions on Instagram, especially, but most of the things that we kind of covered in one way or another, it was a lot of like GODSENT, blah blah, talk about, all of the things that we kind of covered. But there's this one topic that's kind of hot topic these days, which is about the stickers and player signatures. And we have Taco here. He's going to the major. Like, can you give us any insight? Because we had a bit of information that some teams didn't send anything, and some North American teams, I heard, sent something. So did you send your your signature for the sticker? Or will we have player stickers?
I don't need. I know my teammates they sent, but I don't need to send anything because I played the last major and I have already the signature. I would have to do something if I wanted to change my signature, and this is a topic that I'm not really into. Is that true? Like teams missing?
No, I think it was just a confusion because like Valve, I think, left it until quite late to ask the teams and only waited after they qualified. While before they kind of asked everybody who could qualify and then like just use them when they did, right? So like that's the problem. I think they just waited until after the RMRs happened to ask some of the teams who qualified, or like every team who qualified, and that's why there was such a confusion about like whether there would be player stickers or not.
I think they're going to exist.
Yeah, I think they can. We can pretty much safely say that they will happen, because I've heard from multiple players now that they have asked them to put them in. So
it'd be very strange.
Yeah,
I don't know why the communication with Valve is so difficult to. I mean, I didn't know that, to be honest, but it sounds kind of ridiculous in a way, right?
It's leaving it pretty late, like it's a couple of weeks out and stuff like that. God knows how long it takes them.
Biggest tournament of the game.
Yeah,
this is a fucking major. Like, take care of it.
Yeah, I think the confusion came about because I think it was the European players who weren't sure, but they only all recently qualified, right? So let's assume Valve went back to work. Like, they would have been watching. The social media manager was definitely watching. They're going back to work Monday. Like, I don't know how long. I'm not a graphic designer, but I'm sure it's probably not the most difficult task they have ahead of them, right? It's probably not easy, but it's probably not the most difficult task. So I think it's maybe people just really wanting the stickers and a little bit unclear on the communication. So hopefully that works itself out. Is there anything else, Prof?
There's a question. Would you be a pro player if you wanted to? Could you be a pro player? I saw you had 3.3k elo, SPUNJ. This is for you. This is for you, SPUNJ.
We're asking Taco questions right now, mate. I don't want to play Counter-Strike. I'm too shit. I'm too old. 32, mate.
He's 32. Losing his eye as well. There's something in his eye.
Properly. Yep.
He can't see. He's old. So
tired.
Nothing's gonna happen there. I think we covered everything for
okay.
Taco.
Nice. All right. Well, Taco, I want to do this, mate. Normally at the end of the show, I let a player, say whatever they want. So if you want to thank the fans, you can do it in Portuguese, you can do it in English, you can say whatever you want right now, mate. When's the next time we're going to see GODSENT? What is it going to be, the major? You've got a lot of things on the horizon. When are you flying to Europe again? Lots of things.
Yes. So we are flying to Europe in 5 days. We're gonna be boot camping and preparing for the tournaments that thank God are coming, big tournaments for us to play, and because we won the IM Winter qualifier, so we're gonna have the IM Winter to play in EU, which is nice. It's gonna be the first tier 1 tournament we played as GODSENT. So I'm very excited and looking forward for that. In Europe, we're gonna be. I think we're gonna be in Europe for till the end of this year.
Okay.
No.
Nice.
We're gonna be there practicing and playing tournaments. Then we're gonna play the major. Then we're gonna play IM Winter. Maybe we play 1 or 2 online tournaments to get more experience and as a team and as a player too. After that, we're gonna be in Europe, like I told you guys, and we're gonna pretty much play everything that we can play and prepare the most we can for this second season of the year. I mean, for us, it's the second season is only starting now, so because that's when we got spots in big tournaments to play. So that's when the year is starting for us. So I just want to thank everyone watching. Thank you guys for the invite too. It's a long time since I had my last English interview. So sorry about my English and
was
all
great.
that. Thank you for everyone supporting GODSENT too. I'm not talking in English a lot and posting in English a lot on social medias because pretty much all I get is hate when I post something in English, something that is not in Portuguese. So I'm avoiding posting and reading and all this stuff on my social medias, but there's a reason behind it. I need my mind and my brain and I need my mind to be in a good place to work and do my things. I mean I don't like hate and this stuff. So what else I have to tell you guys? Yeah, we are super young team, like super young team. I know people had zero expectations for us. Now they are becoming to have some expectation. But we inside the team, we're gonna just keep doing our thing. Just gonna keep doing. We're just gonna keep practicing really hard and working really hard. We don't care for expectations. We don't mind if we go to this major and we lose as soon as we come back home and fix the problems and be a better team. So that's the way we work here, and I'm happy with that. I'm living a very different moment of my career. I think the the most different taco you ever see, probably. But it's also part of our job, you know. I know I'm transitioning to a different role, a different player, a different part of my career. I know that, and I just want to keep playing and do my best and make my team a great team. So thank you guys very much for watching, and thank you for the podcast and for the talk. And I mean, it was great. I hope we can get more opportunities to talk to you guys in the future tournaments, because I don't even remember the last time we saw each other in tournaments. I'm
Long time
missing
ago,
LAN
mate.
tournaments long time ago. I'm old already. I'm getting old, guys. I was just a kid. I was just young guy
It's happened quick, hasn't it?
smiling at the lobby of the hotels in tournaments. And now
It's- you just talked about the IGN LAN. Like I remember that LAN. I was playing at that LAN. I remember like you boys, like when you popped off, it was on Dust 2 or something, like Henny had a massive clutch, and then
yeah,
the other, they all came running up and the whole place is going nuts. Like those things, they feel like yesterday, but it's
yeah.
so long ago now. It's fucked. Like
So long ago. It's
yeah.
crazy to think about it. So crazy to think about it. Like really crazy, at least in my mind. But I'm really happy to be here, guys. I think we came a long way, and even though I'm starting a new chapter of my career, we cannot forget the old memories, right? So
Sure.
I had great memories in CS. I'm hoping for more in the future.
Awesome. All right. This has been great. Thank you, Taka, for coming on. Enjoyed this one. We've had a lot of discussion here. We've done the classic where we're meant to go for 2 hours and we go for 3. So sorry for holding you for an extra hour. But yeah, had a lot of fun. So thank you to everybody tuning in. Thank you to Taka. Thank you for GODSENT for having him come on. And yeah, shout out to everybody who tuned in. Again, Friday, 6:30, the Blast event that's going to be on. Tune in for that one if you want. The next podcast, it'll probably be next week at some time. We'll be ramping up for stuff going into the major. So yeah, peace out. See you guys later. And thanks for watching. Good night.
Add some fun to your space with Xtrfy, designed in Sweden with focus on quality products built on experience. You're looking at Project 4, their 4th generation of products with super cool colorways to stand out, with matching sets to satisfy with a solid B4 bungee, lightweight ergonomic M4 mouse, the K4 keyboard is fantastic, all of which are performance focused, and finish it off with colorful GP4 mouse mats that are bold in design and smooth on the surface. The retro theme in particular has got the feels. Complete your setup with Xtrfy. No regrets guaranteed.
Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna see you falling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Parimatch, your esports teammate. Stuck ranking up? Lost the motivation to grind? Bored of clicking heads on aim maps? Get some color into your game. Bitskins.com. Buying and selling skins made easy. Tons of payment methods and instant cash outs. Just choose your dream skins, select your preferred payment method, and start grinding again. If you want to play like the pros, you gotta look like the pros.